Hey everyone, welcome back to the Keep Watching podcast, where we decide what to watch so you don't have to. I'm Sarah.
And I'm James.
And today we're going to be talking about Transit Love 2, episode 11. So James, you pumped to get back into some Transit Love action?
Oh yeah, for sure. It always takes me a little while to remember where we left off since we're doing 2 weeks at a time now. But then I remembered, yeah, we we had a pretty eventful last episode, didn't we? We had a bit of a extended debate on one thing that happened in the show. Human versus Heian. Right? That's what it was?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
What did the listeners have to say about our debate on that? I guess you could say I was Team Heian, but it's more of like, who are you more anti, right? I'm like Team Anti-Human, and you're more Team Anti-Heian, right? Is that fair?
Yeah, I can't say like I support Human. I think he might also be garbage, but I just think Heian is more wrong in this confrontation.
I definitely sympathize with Heian more, but okay. All right. What did the listeners have to say?
And I was surprised it was not an overwhelming response that I'm a monster in the comments, which is kind of what I was expecting.
Oh,
yeah, I figured everybody would be,
you
on your side. And, well, okay, I felt like one a little bit, but that's okay.
Okay.
But we got a good one from AH, who says, I think Human just wanted to push Heian out so he could date any of the women freely without thinking so much, and that hurt her a lot. Even though I agree with Sarah that Human didn't owe anything to Heian, but his strategy to be rude to her was so mean and too much, in my opinion. It's not a likable attitude.
Yeah.
I agree with that. He kind of sucks, but...
Those are the kind of comments I expected, you know. They kind of agree with me, but they're not gonna, they give you a little something, Sarah, on their side.
Nobody's thrown me under the bus. I like it.
Yeah. My favorite comment on the subject was from Interregnum, who said, at this stage of the show, I think Human is a bag of snakes. Yeah.
Fair.
That's kind of how I feel. I don't really know exactly what a bag of snakes really means. Maybe that's too strong, but yeah, I'm definitely not liking Human right now, personally.
For me, he is just there. I don't really feel strongly about him. I mean, sure, he's probably not the best person, but yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to get into more Human in this episode for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I believe Emma and Rose also left us comments on this subject. But thank you to everybody who gave us feedback on our debate from the last episode. And Interregnum actually left another comment on one of our older episodes.
Yeah, I saw that.
Because Interregnum is going through and looping back and re-listening to the podcast. Can you believe that, Sarah?
I could not. Honestly, I read this comment and I teared up a little bit because it amazes me that anybody listens to this nonsense we talk, like,
what do you mean?
At all, yet alone. It's great, but like, I don't know. And just regardless of like how much fun we have, I didn't expect anybody to listen to us, let alone like listen to us multiple times. It's crazy to me. I don't know. I appreciated that comment. Yes.
But specifically, the comment was related to a question that I posed back in I think it was episode 5 of Transit Love 2, where I said, "What is a Yihyun?"
The age-old question.
Do you remember Yihyun, or is that ancient history at this point?
Oh, no. She leaves an impression. I remember.
Yeah, I think I posed that question because the show did not let us really get to the bottom of what the hell we had watched between Tae and Yihyun, and then she left the show, and then Mingi left the show, and okay, what is a Yihyun? But Interregnum says that at some point, Wanbin is going to mention like the money that they get paid to be a part of the show. Mm-hmm. And this is like a piece of the puzzle, kind of, where like, okay, this could actually be why the show really put this in the show a lot, that Yihyun is like talking about how she's unemployed and how like, okay, maybe she did manipulate production to some point to make her think she was like single or something, but she really wasn't, just because she wanted the money.
Yeah.
So I buy that piece of the puzzle. But it still doesn't explain the Tei stuff. I'm still so confused
No,
about all of that.
Makes no sense. But I kind of miss it because like Tei gets no action now. Like nobody's interested in him and it's a bummer.
Did she like actually like Tei and then it was like created all these other things because she was also in a relationship and then that's just how she kind of behaved?
Maybe.
In that situation? I don't know.
Maybe.
Whatever.
I don't
it's
know.
Super confusing.
We'll never know.
But yeah, I definitely buy this unemployed thing because I've seen this before on reality TV shows like Big Brother, where they get a lot of, since it's going to be like 90 days in the middle of the summer, you get a lot of young attractive people on the show that are currently unemployed, and then there's things that happen in the show where like on Big Brother, if you get through like the first 5 evictions, you make the jury. And for some reason, in a way that if you don't think about it, like people are just like they just want to make the jury and they're willing to play super safe in the game just to get to the jury, because if you make the jury, then you're going to be on the show the entirety of the summer because you have to like vote in the end. So you're going to be sequestered, which means you're going to get the stipend.
You get paid and don't have to do a lot.
You don't have to do a lot, and you get paid like what it might be like, $1,500 a week or something like that, which is like pretty good money, especially when you're probably like you're not spending it either. Like they're providing you with food and shelter and whatever you need, basically. So you basically just get to hang out for 90 days over the summer and get paid for it if you can survive the first 5 days or whatever.
If you can make it to the jury,
or not 5 days, 5 weeks or whatever. Yeah. So when you're watching it as a fan, you're like, why don't these people care about actually trying to win the show? It's because like, oh yeah, they're unemployed and they just want the guaranteed money. They're not the big prize that's unlikely. They don't feel like they could win. So yeah, there's definitely some aspect here where I feel like now that Interregnum said this, I feel like the show actually went out of their way to show like every moment that Yi-Hyun mentioned she was unemployed. That's because like the show is like giving us a hint as to why this might have happened without telling us.
Yeah, exactly. Oh wait, you mean somebody came on this show for money and not because they were looking for love? What?
Yeah, but most of these people like like I don't know, I guess like people in like Tay's situation is like he owns his own coffee shop, so he might make more money on the show, and also he doesn't have to really close his coffee shop. So like some people might be taking advantage of it, but other people are like, they're probably making more money at their real jobs than going on the show, I would have to guess.
Yeah, fair.
You're a student, and you can handle your studies. A lot of people go on when it's like they're in their last year and they probably are basically done. Something to think about. You still have to convince production that you're going to be good, but yeah. All right. Now that we're done with that ancient history lesson of Yi, what is a Yi? Episode 11. After
let's do it.
You refresh us on what just happened in episode 10, Sarah.
Okay, episode 10 was dates that the ladies picked, and that was they had to go through all that. I guess this was the episode before, but the like talking room where they had to like interrogate everybody about their exes. They finally got to go on those dates, and then at the end there was a big Haeun Guman confrontation on the terrace where there was a lot of crying and a lot of hurt feelings, and then we argued about it for like an hour.
Yeah, basically.
All right, so it is the next morning. We start off fresh early in the morning. None of this late night nonsense.
I always get into this talking about the day of the week. I thought this was Sunday because I went back to my notes and I said I thought it was Saturday in the last episode, but I think at some point somebody's going to say that today is Saturday. So maybe days weren't skipped.
It gets confusing.
Who knows? Or maybe they're combining days into one day for us. I don't know. Okay.
Solid.
I was a little confused by all that.
Very confusing.
But yeah, we're actually starting in the morning.
Yes. We've got Jisoo and Wonbin in the kitchen, and they're kind of talking comfortably with each other. She's saying yesterday was the hardest day that it's been for her this whole time, and he's kind of lately consoling her.
Jisoo also asked Wonbin if he slept well, which we know is from Heart Signal. That kind of comment really warms your heart, right? I think that was the analysis.
Yeah, 100%.
Think Wonbin felt that? You think Wonbin felt that comment?
Sure, we'll say sure.
Okay. Yeah, GC was talking about how yesterday was tough on her. What happened yesterday?
Yesterday, she went on a date with Guman, and then he didn't text her, and then she went, "Oh, what the fuck is a Guman?"
Okay. All right, I'm back up to speed with Jisoo now. I was a little like, what happened to Jisoo? All I could remember was the Heian and Human stuff. Let
It
alone the
does
Nyan Human stuff and
dominate
Jisoo and
the
Human stuff.
Human's got so much stuff going on for such a like bland guy, I
Yeah,
swear.
like I literally don't understand at all. Then they agree to like go eat on the deck outside together to look at the mountains.
Yes.
And I said, here we go. The relationship comeback story. Let's do it.
I know. I was like, this is really leading into that. I guess they're gonna get back together, which
Let's do it.
I didn't necessarily want, but sure, it's fine. They do have a cute moment where she's like, I gotta go to the store. Does anybody need something? And he's like, can you get me a big tumbler like you have? And they're kind of like being a little flirty. Because she's like, what am I gonna get back for all this hard work? And he's just like, I don't know. It's cute. They have a little cute moment.
Yeah.
I'm buying them as like, I could see them being a couple again.
Oh, you're on board now, Sarah. Let's go.
I mean, given the options in the house, sure, why not, right?
Wait, is this tumbler like a laundry thing? What is this?
No, this is like a drink, like a container for drinks, like a big cup.
Oh,
Like usually they're
I was
insulated.
way off. Okay, I had no idea what he was talking about. All right, so he wants like a bigger one. He's been using.
Yeah, he has a
cups that are
small one. He
too
wants
big.
one like hers.
He needs a big one. Okay, all right.
He needs a big one. He needs to stay hydrated, like all those plantsy waters.
Okay. Wanbin is going to ask how she's doing in general. I think Jisoo kind of asked this in the last episode, but Wanbin's returning the favor here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're both kind of agreeing that it's hard to talk to people when you can't say everything, which is something that I have been talking about a lot on this podcast.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to say things and open up, but then that might give away things. And then, then I end up not talking. And then, yeah. I want to get over this part of the show.
Mess.
Just tell them whose ex is. Let's do it. I want it to happen.
There's a bit where she says, like it's hard or whatever. And, yesterday particularly. And he's like, I saw you giggling with Hidu though. And like, so he's like paying attention to her. And like who she's hanging out with, which is interesting.
And this is a conversation I don't remember at all. Was this like even on the TV show?
I don't remember it either. I feel like they never interact.
Yeah, like Wanbin thinks Jisoo was smiling a lot last night, and Jisoo couldn't remember that. Even though I believe Wanbin that it was happening. Whether or not Jisoo's heart was really into whatever she was talking to Hidu about, or if she was just doing default things. But yeah. But Jisoo's going to tell Wanbin, it's nice to talk to him. I like talking to you. No, better than everybody else in the house is probably the rest of that sentence, if I had to guess. They agreed to meet on the deck if they want to talk again. And I put a smiley face in my notes after that one.
Secret talking location.
Secret unofficial date in the future on the deck. That's going to be happening. Let's go.
But then we get this Wanbin confessional that confused me even more because he's like, yeah, we were able to talk comfortably and that was nice. And he's like, feels like now he's able to focus on his feelings going forward for like, it sounds a lot like when Nyan and Hidu had their whole spiel or whatever. And then at the end, Hidu was like, oh, I feel so unburdened. Now I can go and date ladies and not worry about what she feels or whatever. And that feels counterintuitive to the vibe of maybe they're getting closer again. So I don't know that I 100% know what's going on.
Okay.
But I do think the edit is trying to tell us they're going to get back together.
For whatever reason, probably the reasons we've talked about before in this podcast, I kind of stopped putting as much stock in the confessionals as I was before. Like I didn't even write anything down from Jisoo or Wanbin's confessionals in this early scene. I was just like,
okay, fair.
It might be good, might be not. But I see what you're saying with that. That makes sense. All right, then Jisoo is going to leave the house around 2 p.m. And we get the intro music.
We get the intro music.
Fast.
It's like,
let's go.
3 minutes or whatever into the show. It's amazing.
Episode 11, Facing Memories.
Gonna get dramatic.
Yes.
But first it's gonna be silly. Because Jiyeon is going out, but she writes a note. And the note says, Dear Hidu, doesn't your body ache? Are you up for a nice massage? Let's go together. Which is, like, when I saw this, I was like, I was envisioning one of those you get rather undressed for a massage situations, and like that
oh really,
like a big intimate jump, you know.
I actually thought it was like, hey, do you want to like take turns massaging each other? That's what I thought it was. Which I don't know.
Also, if that's kind of an intimate jump.
Yeah,
that's a different kind of like
I thought it was just gonna be like a back rub, but I guess that would be kind of too much for these shows. Now that I think about it. But also what you were thinking was
it turns out to be far more innocent than all that, but still I had a moment of just like, where is this show going?
But then Ji-yeon walks into his room while he's still sleeping. Which I don't even think she had to open the door. I think like the door was just open.
Everyone just sleeps with their doors open. It baffles me.
That's
I would
pretty
feel
cool. I like that move.
Like,
I'm in on that move.
You don't want
to.
Oh no.
You'd be insecure with the door open.
It just feels awkward, and like I need to secure all exits before I'm unconscious. You know, just a safety feature.
Oh, okay. I would want to be woken up if there was something happening. You know, that's probably what Hidu's thinking.
I guess, sure.
But yeah, she leaves a note on his nightstand and then sneaks away and leaves the house at 2:30.
And then 10 minutes later, he wakes up. 10 minutes later, he wakes up. Yeah. Note.
Yeah, he doesn't see the note.
Then he goes to like make his bed immediately.
Yep.
And like the air from him like flipping his blankets around or whatever flips the note over, and it's like, oh no, will he ever see it? But he does eventually. It just takes a little while.
And he thinks the note is cute, right?
Mm-hmm. And that makes him think that she is cute, which is like what he always says about her.
And that's why I got confused, because he instantly put together that this would be like some sort of going somewhere for massage, and I was like, is he interpreting this right? Because that's not how I interpreted it. But I think he actually fully understood it better than I did.
Well, I think it's the very last bit is like, let's go together. So like that implies.
Oh, okay. I actually didn't write that part down. That gives.
Well,
away.
It wasn't actually in the subtitles. Like they did not translate that bit, but I took a picture of the note.
Oh,
like, there's more on here than that. And then
subtitles got me again.
Got it translated. Okay. Yep. Sorry.
So he writes a note back and leaves it in her bed.
But like her bed is all unmade, and he just like tosses it on the pile of blankets and runs away. He doesn't clean her room like he did with Nayad. He's just like, here, I'll put it on the pile with everything else. But okay, so this note says, okay, I'm in. Around what time? I'll go and work out first. P.S. Gosh, my awful handwriting.
And then he leaves the house at 3:20. Then Wonbin leaves, I think, after that.
Wonbin leaves. And he goes on a nice nature walk because he's got nothing to do in this house of people who won't date him.
Wonbin is, yeah. The show really wants to depict Wonbin as I wrote like I feel like they want me to think like he's like some sort of like old wise man who just enjoys nature.
Yes.
But Wonbin, like he goes for a serious walk, and he's going up and down all the hills in this town, and he doesn't come back till pretty late.
Yeah.
A real long walk by yourself.
And they're like, he's like eating in a cafe that seems to be on the side of a hill or whatever. And like there's lots of plants around him, and the titles are just like, Wonbin is surrounded by greenery or something like that. Very silly.
This is what you do when wait, what is Wonbin? Yeah, he's
nobody
still a
will
student,
date you
right?
in the dating house, yeah.
He's still a student, right? Or that's what he's doing right now.
Oh, that's true.
Right, yeah. Like, yeah. When you don't have anything to do and you're on the show, you just go for a walk for a while. All right. Back to the note situation. Ji-yeon gets back to the house at 5:30, and Hidu is actually already back
and eating in the kitchen. And she comes in and she's immediately like, "Oh, my body is aching so much. Didn't I have such a good idea to go get a massage?"
Yeah,
like,
she just like assumes he read the note.
She has not seen the note. Yeah, exactly. But then she goes to her room, drops off her stuff, doesn't see the note, makes her bed over the note, basically. But then he pops in and they manage to like set up a time without her ever seeing this note. And once he realizes that she never read it, he runs into her room, steals the note back so she can't presumably see his terrible handwriting. That's what I have to assume.
No, see, that's like, I was confused. I thought he was running to get the note to then show it to her, but then he doesn't show it to her, right? But then doesn't he say something in a confessional like he was like really worried that like somebody else had seen the note because when he went to get it, like it was not in the same spot as it was where he left it. So I think he was like worried that like
guess?
Nayeon had read the note or something. Or something weird.
Oh, weird. I don't know. I just assumed he was still very embarrassed about his handwriting and was like, well, if you didn't see it, you don't ever have to see it.
It was something. I think he was embarrassed that other people might have read it. I don't know. It
Maybe.
was weird though. Yeah. I was confused about like Jiyeon's he goes back to her room and like makes the bed, and then he kind of like comes in while she's doing that, and he's like 6:00. We should get ready to go. Like he's kind of like in a hurry, as if like they had agreed to a time. But I don't know if they did agree to a time, or like did he put a time in his note and assume that she had read the note, or what? He seemed to be in like a weird hurry to do this.
I think he thought she was going to get back a lot earlier than she did. And so now he's like, come on, I want to, like, he's been waiting around for it. And so him coming in there is to establish a time so they can just go already.
Okay. She seemed to be like not worrying too much about like, like we need to be there at this exact time. I don't know.
But yeah, so he hides this note and then he immediately starts doing push-ups.
Yeah.
And my assumption is, again, that there is going to be a certain amount of lack of clothes at this thing, and he's just trying to quick, like, pump up his muscles so he looks better at it, I guess. I don't know.
He might have been thinking that, actually, now that you say that. Because I was confused why he was doing that, but then the excuse the host give is that, like, oh, he must, like, want to get his muscles sore before the massage. Like, as if, like, he's not actually sore from doing the water activities. You know, like he wants the massage to be worth it or something. I like your explanation better. Like he thinks this might be a shirts off situation and wants to get ready. Like he didn't get to do this before the water activities because he didn't know it was going to be water activities, and he's like, this time I gotta do the push-ups beforehand just in case.
And maybe part of the reason he was like, let me quick go work out before we go do this thing in his note was like, oh yeah, I'll come back from the gym. I'll be all swole. It'll be great.
Oh yeah. And then he had to wait.
Took forever to get back.
Okay.
And he's like,
okay. All right. I think you pieced it all together. I like that explanation.
Sure. I'm not entirely convinced I'm right, but we'll go with it.
All right. But before they leave though, Jiyeon, Jisoo, and Nayeon are all at the dining table.
And apparently, like, Hee-do has only come back to Korea, like, a few days before starting filming or something.
Yeah, this is my first time hearing of this, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. This can be, like, the weirdest beginning of, like, a game of telephone for, like, the rest of this episode, right?
Yeah.
Jiyeon's gonna say something here that just gets, like, reinterpreted, like, 2 or 3 more times until it turns into something completely not what I think it intended to be.
I think it ends up in the right spot because she's like, he only came back to Korea recently and he said something about like really craving Korean food because he hadn't been able to get it abroad. And they haven't like cooked properly since he's been back, really. They've just been getting like grocery store sushi or whatever. And so the group of them kind of feel bad that he's not had a good meal since he's come back to Korea. So it's kind of in all of their heads, like, we should make sure he gets a good home-cooked Korean meal.
I get all that, but from Hee-do's perspective, this is something he said to Jiyeon privately, or you think this is like an assumption they're making? It's something that Hee-do said, right?
Oh, yeah. It's something that he just said.
But like only said it to Jiyeon.
Offhand, I think even.
Yeah. So like from Hee-do's perspective, he just said this like little off comment to Jiyeon, and now it's being told to everybody. And then we're going to go through multiple iterations of this for the rest of this episode until until tonight. Okay. Super weird game of telephone we're about to play here. And we find out maybe Jiyeon's a little popular with the girls in this house. Like maybe they all kind of like her a lot and like to hang out with her because Jisoo is like really trying to hang out with Jiyeon, it seems. But she's like getting ready for an unofficial date that she's also trying to hide from the house. Jiyeon's trying to hide it from everybody.
So she's like trying to leave, but like Jisoo's talking to her in amongst all the shoes. And Hee-do comes around the corner and is like, oh fuck, and like backs up to not be seen, also trying to leave at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's very, very awkward. And like Jiyeon gets away, and then Jisoo talks to Hee-do, and she's like, oh, where are you going? And he's like, I have stuff to do. She's like, what kind of stuff? He's like, just stuff. Can't talk about it. Bye.
Yeah.
And it's very silly.
This has to be so weird from Jisoo's perspective. Because, like, she doesn't give a shit if Jiyeon and Heedu are going on an unofficial date. Why would she care? Yeah. Yeah. So I think Jisoo knows what's up. They're not going to be super. They're not going to be super secretive
sneaky
about
coming
this
back,
when they get back. Yeah. Okay. For some reason, they wanted to be sneaky leaving, and then as soon as they both get outside, Jiyeon is like waiting for Heedu. And she's like, look, they sent me like Jisoo and Nayeon are sending me texts being like, where are you? When are you coming back? And then Jiyeon's just like, the girls love me. She's like praising herself for getting all the girls to like her. Okay.
Now, if only she could teach that skill to Wonbin and Tae, then maybe they'd do better at this house.
Okay. All right, they get in the car, right? After they walk up the hill. And Heedu is gonna squeeze Jiyeon's bicep.
Oh, yeah, she's like flexing. She's like, oh, I built so much muscle yesterday when we were doing the water activities. And
oh, yeah.
He's like, what are you talking about? This is nothing. But it's cute. They get to touch each other, so, good job.
Yeah.
Good job, unofficial date.
Back to the house, though, before we get to the massage.
And for some reason, it seems like it's only Tae and Jisoo who are home now. Everyone else has disappeared.
Yeah, maybe it's like earlier in the day. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's what it does seem like. And Tae needs to go to his cafe, he says. Got to get some work done. But he's not working the whole day. He just needs to go there. And Jisoo's like, don't leave me here alone. I don't want to be here by myself. So Tae invites her to come with her.
And then she's like, yeah, and then we can get groceries on the way back, maybe, for this meal for a Heedu we must make.
Yeah.
Because he misses Korean food.
But she says it like, oh, Heedu said he wants Korean food, like ASAP.
Yeah.
Like, so they like agree to get groceries to like make a Korean feast. But this is like turned into like Jiyeon decided that this was a big deal and made it seem like a big deal. But then they didn't say, like, maybe she's just trying to hide the fact that Jiyeon said it or something to Tae, maybe is what it is. But like she could have said like, oh, Jiyeon had the idea to make Korean food to welcome Heedu back to Korea or whatever. Like she could have phrased it like that in a way that would have made more sense.
Instead of Heedu has demanded Korean food. Yeah,
Heedu really want Korean food, Tae, so we should just focus on that while we're gone on our unofficial date that we're about to have. And that's the beginning of this.
Before they leave, both Gyumin and Wonbin come back. And then, like, Wonbin and Jisoo are hanging out talking. And Gyumin comes out and, like, invites Wonbin to a cafe. Like, I'm all about the bromance here. But it's awkward because then he's like, hey, Jisoo, you can come too. And she's like, nah, bro. I'm going to stay here.
Well, theoretically, if we're being shown this in the right order, she's already agreed to go with Tae somewhere. So that makes it a little weird.
But she doesn't say, oh, I already have plans. She's like, I thought you two just wanted to hang out. Goes back to reading her book. Like, it's...
So you think this is like she's done with Gyumin kind of thing?
Well, we get a Gyumin confessional that indicates that, where he's just like, I don't know what happened. She doesn't seem to like me anymore. And it's like, bro, you didn't text her, so yeah, she's done with you.
Well, that's understandable from Gyumin's perspective, but from Jisoo's perspective, I thought it was just like, oh, I already am going somewhere with Tae.
She already has plans,
I don't want to let these two guys know that I'm going somewhere with Tae, so I'm gonna. She like, I don't know how she did it, but she came up with a reason to like convince them to go with just them two.
Yeah, which I think makes sense.
If she wasn't doing anything,
she's snubbing
I think
them
she would have
either.
gone with them. Yeah, she would have gone if she was going to be left alone in the house, she would have gone with them for sure.
But again, people trying to hide things makes for these very awkward interactions that everybody reads wildly differently for no reason. So yeah, I am sad we never get any of this Gyumin Wonbin cafe date.
What did Gyumin really want to talk to Wonbin about all of a sudden? It seemed like he wanted to have a somewhat serious conversation if he's inviting him to the cafe. What do you think? I don't know. Yeah, I thought we
were gonna get something, but nope.
Okay, weird. Maybe eventually we'll get that. Okay. Oh, but also, this is before they leave, right? Jisoo has bought the tumbler for Wonbin. yeah, this is before they leave. What happens with
and she tries to take it to Wanbin, but again, Wanbin rooms with Tae, and Tae is getting ready for their outing. So she like runs into Tae on the way there, and there's no chance of her hiding it. She's holding like a little gift bag or something. Like she's just they have a weird little standoff, and then she explains it, and he's like, "Oh, okay," and he snags it from her and takes it to Wanbin himself, and it's this whole big silly joke. And they all end up laughing about it, so it's cute.
Yeah, I think Tae was just like on the phone outside of the bedroom, I think. So then Jisoo like awkwardly that, yeah. was like waiting for him to like be done with the phone, and he's just like, "What are you doing?" She's like, I got something for Wanbin because he asked me to pick it up for him. And he's like, oh, okay. And snags it from her and takes it to Wanbin and closes the door behind him so Jisoo can't even interact with Wanbin.
And then he's all like, here, I got this for you. Sorry, I didn't have time to get a car. It's very silly.
They eventually let Jisoo in the room, though. And I thought it was pretty funny.
But the thing that struck me the most about this scene is that Tae is wearing this sweatshirt that says in English, Beautiful Mother's Day on the front, and on the back it's I heart my mom in huge, huge fucking letters. And I'm like, oh, really? Is this one of these situations where it just looks cool because it's in another language and maybe not everybody knows exactly what it says? Because like, this is not the kind of verbiage I would expect on a sweatshirt for a cool guy, you know? Like,
I feel like enough people in Korea would be able to read that sweatshirt.
I would think so.
If it said the same thing in Korean in America, less people would be able to read it, I'm sure.
Well, yes, absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, it just couldn't get over that sweatshirt.
Oh, but after this scene where they all are joking around about the gift, they go to a confessional with Wanbin, and they have the producers like suggesting to Wanbin that maybe asking Jisoo to buy you something would like help people realize that you were exes. Like they're kind of it felt they were a little bit like, Wanbin, I don't think you should have done this.
Yeah, but he's just like, oh yeah, you're right, but I wasn't really thinking about that. I was just like, sweet new Tumblr, this is great.
Yeah. And Wanbin actually says like, back then I didn't think about how the others might think about the Tumblr. I just wanted to know.
Oh yeah.
And he uses the phrase back then as if like this thing that they're talking about happened days ago.
Yeah.
At least. Okay, interesting. But Jisoo and Tae do leave together. And I think they leave before them, and they leave in a way that it's obvious they leave. So they weren't really hiding that they were going somewhere together. Yeah.
And as much as this is also an unofficial date, it doesn't really feel like, I don't think they're approaching it in the same way that Jiyeon and Hee-do are approaching, you know, like they're very vibing on a date level, and these guys are just going to the grocery store, sort of.
Yeah, it's kind of just something to do, but you know, it's still a date in my book, you know.
Still gonna call it an unofficial date. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I did note that Tae's like really out of breath walking up the stairs.
I feel like this episode in particular, it's just people struggle on the stairs. Like there's a lot of uphill.
Our Tae was really struggling though. Tae was having a hard time. And Jisoo says to him, you must be out of shape.
Oh, not a great way to start an unofficial date.
I wrote in my notes, also, he's a smoker, so that could be contributing to his struggles.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, that's true.
All right, let's go to the massage place, the Hanoi Foot and Body.
Okay, so we get Jiyeon and Hee-do are in matching outfits.
Like, oh, yeah, that's good.
They go to the place, and the place gives them clothes, and they're, like, sitting on this bench, and their feet are in, like, little basins of water.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, this is very different from what I envisioned. There's a guy that comes in and gives them a foot massage, and she is like ticklish to the max. So she is having a rough time.
Yeah, she could not even. I guess she's never had a foot massage before. Like she forgot that this would happen if she went here.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe she's more looking forward to the massage part. This was just kind of like a part of the package or something. But she like literally can't get her foot rubbed without laughing. It's pretty funny.
But during this, Hee-do says that she has beautiful feet. And that feels like not a thing that you just say to people. Like, that feels like a weird thing to say to somebody if you're not, like, very interested in them.
Did he say this without her
least for
saying
me.
something negative about her feet?
I think she said something negative about her feet after he said she had beautiful feet.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Like, so it was just, he came out, he's like, they're paying attention to her feet because she's getting a massage and is ticklish. And he's just like, those are some good looking feet. So, yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen a foot where I felt the need to think or say that that's a beautiful foot. How do you feel?
Yeah, I 100%. I don't get the foot thing. I mean, I know a bad foot when I see one, but like a good one, it does not inspire me to say words.
Yeah,
but,
like if a foot doesn't
doesn't
make you think about anything, that's probably a beautiful foot, right?
That's
how I would categorize it. That's the only judgment I could make.
Yeah, okay. Exactly.
Okay, yeah, that is an interesting
maybe Hidu has a whole different foot scale, so yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
No shame if he's a foot guy. I just felt like that was a very like forward comment and further proof that these guys.
I think it means something if you're just gonna randomly say that out of nowhere. I think I agree with you. Then they're gonna get the actual massage here. This is where they take all their clothes off.
More of what I expected. No, they keep their where you would normally what I would expect. You're laying on a table with your face in the little hole, and you're like just in a towel, but they're still in their, I don't know, massage parlor uniforms that were given to them. So is not quite as intimate as I thought from the beginning.
Jian says before the massages start, though, whoever makes more sounds has to buy dinner. So this is also a dinner unofficial date. This is turning into a pretty official date.
Yeah.
I guess not official in terms of the show made it happen,
but like an actual
date. Full-blown, I mean, all-night date here. Here we go. All right, Sarah, who wins?
Oh, I don't know, but they have their heads in the little holes, and it's funny, they're trying to talk to each other, and it is muffled because their heads are in the holes and not, like, pointed at each other or microphones, and it is a silly time.
You weren't paying attention to who was making more sounds?
I mean, they were both making sounds, but I did not count or come up with a better way to judge that.
I was,
Did you count?
After Jian said that, I was paying attention. No, I just kept like, a mental, okay, who's making more sounds the rest of this conversation?
Okay, so who did you judge to be the maker of more sounds?
I think Hidu made more sounds.
That sounds right.
I don't know if we got a confirmation over who paid for dinner, but
yeah, it never really comes up again.
Is Hidu cool enough to just have made more sounds just so he had to pay for dinner? Ooh.
Oh, maybe. Probably not, though. I don't know.
At some point during the massage, though, Jian called him Oppa. I heard it. She might have done this a lot already, but that was the first time I heard it. Because funny enough, in the subtitles that we're watching for Transit Love 2, they don't put Oppa in the subtitles, but in Heart Signal 4 that we're also watching right now, they do put Oppa in the subtitles, so it's like obvious when they say it.
Yeah. I find in a lot of subtitled Korean stuff where you would use any of those sort of honorific titles, they usually just put the person's name there instead of like Oppa or whatever.
That's what they
And I think it's because they don't expect English speaking audiences to understand any of those titles and what they mean, so it's just like, meh, just put their name. Close enough.
Yeah. I like when they put Oppa and the other ones though. Now that I understand it. To some degree. I like it when it's in there.
Yeah, I agree too.
Okay. The massage ends and I only put this in because we were talking about Hidu's face a lot when he first came on the show. Because Hidu is going to ask the masseur, like before they leave, like, oh, how can I de-bloat a puffy face? Okay, so I don't feel as bad about pointing this out about Hidu now that he's also aware of it is going on. I don't know. He didn't further explain why he might have a puffy face right now, but he got some tips on how to de-bloat a puffy face.
How to deal with it, yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. They leave, but they're going to go to dinner now. Together, just the two of them.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
just the two of them.
Meanwhile, Jisoo and Tae are planning the Korean feast for Hidu tonight.
Yup.
Like, even Jian didn't expect them to, like, make the food for him tonight, even though it was, like, her idea, right?
Yeah.
She just kind of threw it out there.
It's like, she mentioned it.
Yeah.
And everybody else ran with it, and nobody actually confirmed with Hidu if he would be around or would like Korean food, so.
Yeah. Also, though, on the way to the restaurant, Jian has this moment in the car. Why did this happen? She's like pretending she's in a photo booth, but she doesn't even have her camera out,
I
right?
think she's doing it to the camera that's mounted on the car for the show.
Oh, okay.
And so
That
she's
would make
like
sense. I guess she
just
can
being
see
silly
it.
with that.
But Hito has a reaction of
Yeah.
like what just happened to you? Are you okay? Like he's like he looks at her like she's crazy for a second. That makes sense
Yeah.
though, if they can see the camera.
It's just some standard Gion silly behavior. Nothing to worry about.
Okay. All right, they get to this restaurant. They're gonna talk about Hidu potentially growing facial hair and more head hair.
Yeah.
A little bit here.
Yeah, I think he starts with talking about a mustache, and she's just like, no, you should just grow long hair. And then he's like, well, do you like guys with long hair? And she feels awkward about it or something because she kind of panics. And then she's like, no, but you would look good with it.
He doesn't ask, do you like guys with long hair? He's just like, I see you like men with long hair.
Oh, is that what? Yeah, okay.
As if to say, I know Tei is your ex because you told me.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's probably that explains the panic.
Yeah. So she like hesitates for a second and then she smiles and is like, that's not true. But she's like, I think they're on the same page. They know what they're talking about, but they're trying to play coy for the
then
cameras.
He follows it up with well, if you did say you liked guys with long hair, I would have grown it out. But you didn't, so I won't.
Oh, just more
No.
yeah, more silly flirting, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they definitely know what they're talking about because he like continues to tease her about it because she's like not mentioning Tei, but they both know they're talking about Tei, so he keeps teasing her, and then Jian at some point is like, "You have a 4-year history that I could be teasing you about," and they like laugh about that because she knows that he dated somebody for 4 years. I don't think she knows it's Nayeon.
Yeah.
Or we definitely know.
No, she still thinks it's Haeon, right?
She still thinks it's Haeon, yeah, but she's
yeah.
like, I could ask you about 4 years worth of information if I wanted to. I like this scene because it's like they're starting to break through the you can't talk about your ex barrier that is kind of up where they're kind of like they've basically broken the rules at this point, but
yeah, no going back now.
I'd still like it to be the barrier to be completely destroyed, but it's a little taste here of how things can be if you get through this a little bit.
Yeah, she does say that soon their exes are gonna be revealed. I don't know how soon.
Yeah,
soon
I guess that happened in season 1, and she knows about it, or it's something the producer,
or they told them or something.
As soon as she said that, I was like, oh, it's gonna happen this episode, but that's not what happens.
Nope, not yet.
Yeah, I think this is where Hidu says it's Saturday. So
yes,
presumably this is actually Saturday.
Yeah, and they talk a bit about how it's weird to meet people on the show and how it's different from normal dating. And she says something like, but we'll get attached anyway. And he's like, yeah, everyone except for one person, like clearly meaning Tae. And then she's just like, why don't you like him? Did he bully you? Like, what's your deal? Because like there's beef, right? There's been beef. I don't think Tae knows about the beef, but
yeah.
So yeah, he's just like, he and I don't mix. Meanwhile, like Tae is out buying food to make him a fancy Korean meal.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so funny because like Hidu like came into the house on like the one day that Tae was like kind of being successful
vibing with
one other woman in the house, and it was his ex, and now he like doesn't like Tae.
Yep. And Tae has no idea that this is happening.
And immediately after that, like Tae's had no success with Nayeon, so
yeah.
It really, I don't know, maybe it's more than just the situation. Maybe it's actually a vibe thing. But I don't know. But Jian is like actually sad about this in her confessional.
Yeah. Because she's always sad when it comes to Tae.
I guess. But like, so would you want the person you're dating to like your ex, Sarah?
No, I don't want them to.
If anything, it's usually the opposite, right?
Well, I mean, it depends on, if you hate your ex, then yeah, you want your new partner to be on your side of, yes, that's a terrible person. But if you break up amicably or enough time has passed, like, I just don't want them to know each other. There's no need for this crossing of the street.
Well, I mean, if you're going on this show, it's too late, but...
Well, yes.
But even if you're on this show and they met each other, like, would you care if they liked each other or didn't like each other?
It would be easier if they at least didn't hate each other, you know? Like, you don't want any sort of dramatic bullshit, right?
Kind of understand where Ji-yeon's coming from then.
Yeah, but I don't think that's where, like, I don't think she's worried that anything's gonna happen. I think she's just sad that somebody, like, nobody wants to date Tae, and even this guy doesn't like him. Like,
okay.
She's just soft-hearted when it comes to Tae, you know?
I guess that's probably where she's coming from. And then I feel like there was a moment here in this conversation where like Ji-yeon is like really trying to sell the like concept of the show or like the efficiency of the show when it comes to dating, where it's like somehow living with your ex like makes all this possible, and like she wouldn't have been able to get to know Hee-do as fast as she has if it weren't for the situation they were in or something.
Yeah.
But I really feel like, you know, it's not that they're in the house with their ex. It's just like they're young single people who are being forced to live with each other and go on dates. And that's the reason they're getting to know each other so fast.
Proximity, yes.
It has nothing to do with the ex thing. Like I am not sold on this concept at all as being efficient. For
honestly, it feels not. I don't even care about efficiency. Just very, very toxic and no good for anyone. Honestly, is what it feels like at the end of the day.
The only thing that this show does is like it has the potential to get you back with your ex. Do not go on the show unless you want to get back with your ex.
But even then, like, oof, it's gonna be a rough time.
Yeah, I still wouldn't suggest, but that's like the only upside to being on this show versus like another show. Unless you're just in it for the money. That's fine too. And then at some point, Hee-do's also going to get to touch Ji-yeon's dimple. Is this the second time this has happened? I definitely said dimple before, and then I wanted to clarify that I was saying dimple.
Yeah, I think it might have been with them too. Like, did this happen yesterday?
This
on
is
their
the
date
second
then?
Hee-do Ji-yeon dimple touch?
Maybe? Who else has... I don't pay attention to dimples. I don't know who else. Who else would touch a dimple, though? Like, that's not a human vibe.
Human's not touching dimples.
That's not a... that's too forward for Wonbin.
Hasn't been in a situation
Tae can't get near a dimple, so like, yeah, I think they did.
Did one of the guys have dimples? Our memories are our dimple memories are not the best right now.
Does Wonbin have a dimple, and would Haeyeon touch it? Probably not.
Okay, I went to my notes for the last episode, and in my notes it says Hee-do touches Ji-yeon's dimple.
Okay, there we go.
Maybe he's touched both
repeated dimple touching.
Left and right dimple, both of them.
There we go.
Okay.
I don't know why this is a thing. Like, dimples don't feel particularly away.
I just like the word dimple.
People love to poke dimples.
It's a fun word to say.
Okay.
Oh, you don't know why this is a thing?
Yeah, I don't know why people touch dimples. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't think I would need to touch them to like appreciate them. Like I get why you appreciate them. Like they can look cute, right? But
they don't feel a particular way.
Yeah, I don't think it would enhance my experience to touch the dimple.
Unless it's just an excuse to touch somebody's face. It might just be that.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, sure. I'll leave Hee-do to his feet and his dimples, whatever he likes, sure.
If you really want to touch somebody's face, just like wait for a hair to be loose or something, and then
or just imaginary loose hair. Be like, oh, I have.
Oh yeah, just make it up.
Yeah. Or oh no, there was a bug that was gonna land on you. I saved you. What up? Now I'm touching your face.
There you go. Okay.
Maybe we shouldn't advocate for people lying to touch other people. That's not a great standard to start.
Yeah. Hee-do very politely was like, "Can I touch your dimple?"
Yeah.
All right, let's cut away from these guys and let's go to Jisoo and Tae. What are they doing right now?
They go to one of those outdoor marketplaces and they buy a bunch of side dishes from one of the food stalls, and they're singing together in the street while they're walking, which seems like a good time.
Yeah, they seem like they're having fun.
We never actually see them at his cafe, so whatever he had to deal with there was not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the car, she's all like, "Why are you still using honorifics with me?" And he's like, "Oh no, I'm sorry. Did that feel like I was being distant? I didn't mean to. I'll drop them right away." And then now they're speaking casually to each other.
I mean, Jisoo and Tae like haven't interacted at all, right?
Other than that time he bought that soup that she liked.
Oh, that's right. But they didn't even talk. It was just like, cool guy drop off the
soup.
Just like,
bam, soup.
So I can see why maybe Tae didn't feel like he had earned the dropping of the honorific, so he was like still using them.
Yeah.
But I guess Jisoo's gotten to the point where she feels like everybody shouldn't be using them, so she brought it up.
Yeah. They literally live together.
Is this an indication that she likes him, or is this just like a casual, like, we don't need to do this anymore?
I think it's a casual, we don't need to do this anymore, but I think it's also she doesn't feel uncomfortable with him, so that's a good sign, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
But then we get a nice Jisoo confessional where she's just like, that Tae guy, he's always just like taking care of people without you really noticing it. He's actually like really like thoughtful and caring, you know? She's like finally starting to see the maybe what's good about Tae.
Yeah. It's like
nice, but doesn't go anywhere later.
It's like he's a human or something.
Nonsense.
All right. They're gonna get home at 10:30. Hella late. Like this Korean feast is tonight, and we're getting home at 10:30.
Yeah.
This is insane.
But okay, so they're unloading their stuff, and they, not only did they get all the stuff for the Korean feast, they also brought tacos and a cake. And I'm like, this is a weird group of food, but okay. Yeah.
Everybody is home except for Jiyeon and Heedo at this point. Jiyeon and Heedo are still at the restaurant at 10:30.
Yes.
Yeah, they eat the appetizer tacos, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wrote here that Haeyeon is going to sit right next to Gyumin at the dinner table.
Yep.
And then they just show Gyumin like instantly becoming uncomfortable.
But not so uncomfortable that he can't flirt with Nayeon. He does have a moment of flirting with her because she like accidentally kicks him under the table. And he just says something like, oh, surprisingly, I have long legs. And then Haeyoon's just like, I guess it was really surprising. And I think like there's something lost in translation here because Wonpin's just like, oh, you dissed him so bad right now. And I'm like, wait.
Oh, really? Oh, that happens? All I saw was Gyumin's, again, like his like taken aback face by like what I wrote is like anything Haeyeon does around Gyumin just looks like he's like, what are you doing? I can't believe you did that. Like she can't do anything around him at this point is how I feel. Like even if he like sat across from him at the table, he'd probably have a reaction to it. You know?
Yeah.
No matter what she does, he's having a reaction to it. Whereas I feel like she was just kind of trying to like, to me, I didn't notice the Wonbin thing, but it was just like, oh, I'm trying to be part of the joke of the situation. Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that's what she was doing, and it was fine. But I guess the joke is that he's short, and I guess that's what Wonbin was reacting to.
Damn. Got him.
I don't know. But yeah, it is nice to see her try to like playfully interact, you know, and not just be sad, you know? So that was nice.
She's fine when everybody's around, I think. All right, now that they're done eating, it's time to start cooking dinner.
Yes, and it seems like they're all swarming on this great Korean feast.
Yeah. Everybody at this point is like, we are making a meal for Heedo because he said he wanted Korean food.
And he is not in the house right now. Who knows when he'll come back.
Yeah, also, he's currently eating dinner somewhere else. At least that's what I thought. There's going to be a different story when they get back, which I don't know if that's a lie or not. I think that when they come back, they're going to say, oh, we went out drinking and we had some like drink snacks. Did they actually get dinner or no?
Yeah, because like in Korea, if you go drinking, like you do get snacks. Like you don't really just sit and drink. You usually get food. But like I feel the level of food they got was dinner. Like it was.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
More substantial.
Yeah. Okay. But when the dinner making is going on, they do a really good job in the edit. Now maybe this is actually how it's going, but they do a really good job in the edit of showing Gyumin talking like super normally with Nayeon, and then whenever he has to interact with Haeyeon, it's like it looks super awkward, right? And he's like he'll be like almost like in back-to-back conversations with these two girls, and he like immediately changes as a person between the two of them.
And then there is this moment where like so Gyumin and Nayeon are working on something together, and then Nayeon invites Haeyoon in to be like, hey, come help us with this. And she like slides right in between them, which is
really
funny. Yeah. Like
that's what Nayeon
it means nothing to Nayeon. Nayeon doesn't catch on it.
Yeah,
but like I feel like you see a little Gyumin face go like,
yeah.
You know, because That's him.
Heian, you still exist. I'm upset about that. She can't do anything right at this point, I think. But then Yumin and Nyan are gonna get some alone time washing dishes together.
Yes.
They're gonna secretly agree to go on a perfume date, Sarah?
Yes. Apparently he's running out of his and he needs to go get some, and she's just like, sure, let me go with. And it sounds like a fancy place where you have to actually like make an appointment to be able to sniff all the perfumes or something.
Yeah, it's like a make your own perfume kind of thing. I guess I've seen
is it a make your own perfume? I've seen that before. I didn't know that was the thing.
Maybe it's not make your own, it's just like sample a bunch of them and then choose one. Okay.
Maybe it's sort of like the perfume person helps you pick the right thing for your physiology or whatever. Who knows? You need an appointment is all I got out of this. Probably
gonna turn into like Nyan pick a perfume for me, right? Like why would he not just get what Nyan wants him to get?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. Also, we find out Tae is very scared of moths.
Like comically so. Like he's going up the stairs, sees a moth, jumps down the stairs and shouts for everyone, just like, there's a moth. And then Wanbin tries to deal with it, and Tae just fucking runs. He's just back in the kitchen like, I didn't need to go upstairs for anything. Forget it. Nope, not going near the moth.
Yeah. Wanbin has to save him from the moth.
Mm-hmm.
Yumin also seemed very confused by this and was legitimately just like, hey, are you serious right now? Not sympathetic at all.
It is kind of like being afraid of a butterfly. It's about the same thing, you know?
A lot of people are scared of spiders, but like moths are probably like once you see a spider, like it's not gonna fly in your face, you know? But moths could fly in your face.
Some of them jump. Some of them jump.
Oh yeah.
Spiders.
You would do this for a spider. You'd be like, nope, not going upstairs.
100%. I'd be like,
okay,
we need to burn down the house now. Goodbye. I'm going back to my home. Is how that would be.
Oh wow, okay. You really need a Wanbin in your life, Sarah. That's what you need.
I mean, doesn't everybody? You know, it's just
okay.
Wanbin's top tier. I don't know what to tell you. He's the best person in this house.
Okay. All right, but here we go. They might have started eating dinner, but the doorbell rings. We have a new letter to read to the house. Jiyeon and Hee-do, though, still not here.
Still not home. But Haeyeon reads the letter, and it says, the X room is now open. Here, you may reminisce your time with your ex and find out how the other one feels. If you wish to enter this room, text this number below within the next hour. And immediately Tae's like, I'm not doing that, and walks away.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
And then Gumin's like, yeah, I'm not doing that either.
Yeah, out loud to everybody there. The thing is, though, Tae said that without his ex being in the room. Gumin, though.
I 100% believe he would say that even if she was there.
Yeah, he's going to at least make it seem like he would have said it no matter what. Yeah. But there's still it's like a little bit of a harshness to this thing.
Yeah.
Where he's like, yeah, without hesitation, just going to be like, yeah, I don't want to talk to my ex who just read the note that said we could talk to our ex.
I mean, it doesn't specifically say you can talk to your ex. It's like,
it actually doesn't say that.
About your time and find out how they feel, which implies that you talk to them, but turns out that's not 100% what the room is, even though there is a bit.
This seems like it's very simple. Like, okay, there's going to be a room, you both enter, you get to talk privately without anybody knowing, and it's just an opportunity to talk about whatever. Which is a fair assumption, I think, by almost everybody that everybody makes here.
Given everything else.
But it's going to be a lot more than this. And then there's like a twist at the end of it that I also think is weird and don't fully understand, because we're not going to get all of these X room appearances in this episode. So we'll have to see next episode, like how the full mechanics of this work. But I really think the production like kind of is manipulating them here, or like lying to them again about like what they're about to go through. Because like if they really knew what they're about to go through, I don't think some of them would have signed up for it.
Yeah, I agree. They're very unclear and
But okay. Anne is going to tell us in confessional that she's finally feeling like Gumin just must not like her. Now
is the time? It took until now?
This is where they showed us the confessional for saying it, yeah.
Okay.
That he must be comfortable with how things are. or how things are going right now. Gyumin tells us in the confessional that he didn't want the other girls, especially Nayeon, I assume, to know that he still has feelings for his ex. Now, he said this in a way that made me think like, oh, he still has feelings for his ex. But it's more of like a hypothetical, like, I don't want them to think I have feelings for my ex because they would assume I did if I didn't say anything, which doesn't fully make sense.
Yeah.
But he really wanted the other girls to like know that he didn't have feelings for his ex. I don't know. It's
exactly.
I don't know. I don't think he had to say anything.
I mean, I don't think he had to, but I understand that train of thought of just like if I loudly say I'm not doing the thing, that means I'm not into my ex.
Yeah. I don't think he thought all of that thought process in the 2.5 seconds he did from Haeun reading the note to being like, I'm not doing that. You think he did? You think he had to?
No, I think you're right. It's a gut reaction to like, I don't want to hang out with her. I don't want to revisit any of this shit. Nope. Get me away.
I think it's a gut reaction to not wanting to do it and not really caring about Haeun overhearing his thoughts out loud, basically. Oh,
I mean, again, I'm going to say I think he's not even thinking of her and her hearing it and how she'll feel about it. He's just agree. Having a gut reaction.
I definitely agree.
Yeah.
He's not thinking about her feelings at all. All right, Hee-doo and Jiyeon, though, are still at the restaurant, and they're going to get the text version of the letter.
Yes.
Aren't these two breaking the rule? Let's just be honest here. They're breaking the rule of eating dinner at the house, right? Okay. Maybe that's why they have to eat dinner when they get back.
Oh, there you go. But they are eating with another participant on the show, which is at the very least something.
Yeah, that's true. I'm fine with it.
The rules
like,
are bullshit.
I don't actually care. It's just like, what's the point of this rule? Why does this need to be a rule if this is happening?
Yeah, I don't know.
But Hee-doo and Jiyeon they both get the text at the same time. And then they're going to joke about whether they're going to do the X room or not. And
yes,
it's at first it seems like Hee-doo is going to do it, right? Like he's like, yeah, why not? Why not do it?
And he's like, yeah, wouldn't everybody do it? Like, isn't everybody like curious about stuff?
I thought Jiyeon had a similar sentiment, but I don't know. They joke back and forth about it. But then eventually Hee-doo's going to be like, oh, why don't you just give me your phone? And then you won't be tempted to text the number.
Yeah.
Right?
And then we get this great Jiyeon confessional. Yeah, she's like, this is it. This is when I knew he really had feelings for me because he wanted my phone and got a little jealous. Oh, yeah.
He really likes me. I can tell now. Yeah. To me, again, I just think this is just a funny thing to say and doesn't actually, increase the amount of liking that he has for her by saying this, I think it's just a funny thing to say.
Yeah.
So why not
but
say it?
It is a demonstration of something that resonates with her at the very least. So
it's something, but like I wouldn't take it as like this one comment meant more than everything else on the date, Like the date itself is going well. Like that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is also Jiyeon we're talking about, who is frequently like taking wild ass things and putting them together to make a theory. So,
true.
whatever gets her in an actual like correct direction, I'm all for it.
Okay. Jiyeon liked this comment so much that she even makes the same offer back to him. Give me your phone.
And he's just like, no. It is kind of silly because neither of them give it up.
There was an element of like playfulness and back and forth, but it did feel like it interrupted their date and did make it a little bit more awkward for sure, right? Like I think they would have had more fun if this didn't happen.
Yeah. And like right before this, she was like telling him how he's the one in the house she has the most fun with. And like, I think he's like, well, wait, aren't you close with Gyumin? And she's like, oh, it's not the same. And they were kind of getting into a like more real how they feel about each other thing. And then this text came and just kind of disrupted that. But also, is she actually close with Gyumin? Like, I don't know where he came up. Like, we've not seen her interact with Gyumin at all.
I didn't even know what to make of that comment. I was like, I can't not think of any Gyumin-Jiyeon interaction. Other than like, maybe they just looked close in like a group setting because Jiyeon probably looks like she's close with everybody.
Well, yeah. I was thinking that maybe they have some buddy time that doesn't make it into the show because it's clearly like not going anywhere romantically, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's possible. There has to be stuff we're not seeing at times. Yeah, I think you're right. But back at the house, though, we see everybody kind of walks away from the table, and eventually, and we do see Heian text that she wants to go to the the X room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they make us watch her like double back to the table a bunch of times. Like, "Oh, am I gonna text it? Oh, I don't know." And we're all like, "Yes, you're gonna text it. Of course you are. This is the thing you've been waiting for."
Of course she is. Like, she hasn't been able to go on a date with Human, and this is like the first opportunity the show is giving her to go on a date with Human. So of course she's gonna text her, and the producers know she's gonna text.
Of course,
okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see where this goes.
But we do get a like montage of everyone like on their phone near the table when no one else is around, as if to say, "Are they texting? I don't know. Maybe."
Yeah, it was unclear. We don't know who.
A bunch of them are not,
and who's not. Yeah. Sarah, would you go to the X room? If you had as much information as these people did, would you be going to the X room?
I'm trying to think of. I mean, the context under which I was on this show would matter. If I actually wanted to get back with my ex, probably. If I was trying to move on, probably not.
Okay. Well, you should only be on the show if you.
I think that's what it comes
down
open
to getting back to your ex. So that's the context. So you would if you were.
Even if I started off that way at this point in the show, that might no longer be true.
Okay. So your team avoid this entirely if you're more focused on someone else than your ex.
Yes. Unless you have like closure you need to get and shit you need to say to somebody. All you're going to do if you're not interested in them and you show up is perhaps lead them on and have an uncomfortable time.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I can't say for sure I would do it or like wouldn't do it, but like my gut is just like, yeah, why not? Just do it. It's like,
I mean, there's a certain aspect of it's part of the show, might as well.
Yeah, it's just a conversation. It's not something I would do in real life. Like I wouldn't go out of my way to talk to an ex. Like, especially if I was dating somebody else. But on this show, I was like, yeah, participate in the show. Why not? That's my gut reaction to it. And I was just assuming it'd be a conversation.
Now, fair response to that.
If I knew exactly what this was going to be, I'd be more inclined to not do it.
You mean a museum of sadness?
Yeah, I might do it. I don't know. I wouldn't be interested in this part of it. Like just talking to them would be fine, but I don't think I'd be that interested in the stroll down memory lane that they're gonna do.
Yeah.
But, okay. Interesting to think about. Hidu and Jiyeon do get home though. Everyone is like, Hidu, Tae prepared this Korean food for you, just like you wanted. Didn't you say you wanted him to do this for you?
And I'm just like, Hidu has to feel like a dick right now, right? Like
I think he's just confused,
dude. Who just made? I
would be so confused if I was Hidu. I was like, wait, what's happening and why is it happening and what did I say? This has gotten out of hand.
That's fair.
If I like from Hidu's perspective, like he's like, I guess I'm still hungry. Yeah, I'll eat some Korean food. And then he's like, yeah, I haven't had Korean food since I came back. And they're like, as if like they don't know this information, but the whole reason this is happening, like he has no idea why they're doing this for him. He doesn't even know that they know he just got back, it seems. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. The timing of it does make it extra silly.
Yeah. But apparently Tae, like, has never even made the food he just made tonight. So I guess he actually did put in, like, some effort into this. Like, it wasn't just whatever to Tae. He was like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna do Hidu good here. Now, Tae doesn't say this to Hidu, so Hidu has no idea.
Well, of course not. Because that's not Tae. He'll do something for somebody and then never speak of it because he's embarrassed or something.
Yeah.
But apparently the soup is good. So for never having made it before, good job.
Is Hidu gonna like Tae more now?
No. I feel like he's a stubborn boy who's just like made an opinion about this guy and that's it forever,
Yeah.
Like Tae could never talk to Nayeon again. And he would still just be beefing with him,
Yeah. I also just feel like from Hidu's perspective, like this is so confusing that like at the end of all the confusion, he might not even like realize how much of an effort Tae put into it because he wasn't even around to watch it, right? Like it's just like he showed up and random food was there,
So everybody was asking them about where they were, and the massage comes up, and like Nayeon has questions about this because she
so
made the
jealous.
same assumption I did, where it's like there's a level of nudity implied in going for a massage.
She's
she's
jealous,
getting
though.
pretty jealous.
She says she would have freaked out if it was an oil massage because they would have had to take their clothes off. She uses it gets translated as freaked out. So like now,
yeah,
I would be curious to see what Nayeon freaked out means. What do you think? What do you think she would have done, Sarah?
I think she would have looked exactly the way she looked through dinner, and then later gone and cried somewhere where someone couldn't
like just
see
had
her.
like
That's
a complete breakdown somewhere.
Yeah.
You don't think it would have been a confrontational freak out? It would have been an internal freak out. Okay.
No.
Okay.
She would have shoved that stuff deep down until she was alone and could cry properly.
Yeah. Other quotes in the confessional. Gosh, this is annoying. And then she starts to cry, and then she says, I am so jealous.
She also says that like Heedu looks really cool when he drives, and so she's sure that Jiyeon has feelings for him now that she's seen him drive. Which I mean isn't wrong, because when they drove together yesterday, she was like, "Oh fuck, you could drive. This is nice." So like, I guess it's a thing.
Yeah. Nine even says like, "I wish I had driven with him today." Right? Doesn't she? Something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And yeah, she's jealous of Jiyeon seeing him drive, but she doesn't even realize how much she's seen him drive because that one date was on a secret date.
Right. Yeah.
Oh boy. Once you've seen Heedu drive for like how many hours until you're in love with Heedu watching him drive? How many hours does it take?
It seemed like very little at all from Jiyeon's perspective. It was like immediate.
Well, she noticed it, yeah, pretty quickly. But Nayeon is like, 5 minutes of seeing Heedu drive, it's over.
I don't know. I've collectively seen Heedu drive for 5 minutes, and I am not in love with this man. So it's got to be more.
Yeah, but you have to see it from his perspective. We're getting the wrong angle, I think, on
it. Okay.
You have to see how he's dodging and weaving in the traffic to really appreciate it. Going up and down the hill.
I really appreciate driving that doesn't involve diving and weaving.
Yeah, but if you had to go somewhere where that was needed,
I guess,
then you'd appreciate it. All right. They're still at the dinner table with everyone. Heedu and Haeun are now making plans to go to the gym at the same time,
but they can't work out together.
Haeun thinks they can work out together, but Heedu says it'll be hard because we have to use different weights.
I think he specifically said you couldn't handle it. Is what he said.
Oh, I did not see that in the translation. I don't think he was harsh like that. Was he?
I don't know. Maybe this is just my interpretation that I wrote down, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's a fair interpretation of it. But I wrote down like this really doesn't make any sense. Like if you do the same exercises,
people
it's
of different strengths work out all the time together. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that hard to like just use different weights when you're doing the same workout. Now, what I would guess from Heedu's perspective is that he's just a bro that likes to do his workout and get it over with as fast as possible and like do his thing and get out of there. So maybe he just doesn't want to work out with her, which is also fair. But he tries to be like, come up with this kind of like bullshit excuse in order to like not just be like, I don't really want to work out with you. But then what interestingly happens is that like, do you think Jiyeon gets a little jealous here and like she instantly becomes team Heedu on like, I don't even think it's possible for a man and woman to work out together.
Yeah.
It's just her being jealous, or is she actually confused? Is it?
Yeah, I think it's jealousy / her. You know how before when she talked to his ex and she was just like, she said some things that were negative qualities of him, but she came out thinking they were all positive things, Jiyeon's just infatuated with this man, and so if he says that she's gonna be like, yeah, that it makes perfect sense. You couldn't possibly work out together. That's what I think's happening anyway.
Yeah, because every single man and every single woman have a significant gap
there's definitely
in weights that they exercise with.
There's nobody that would line up across genders at all.
I can't even think of
any
two people that could work out together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
impossible.
crazy statement to make. But yeah, Hidu and Gion are on the same page. Yeah. I'd love to see Gion and Hidu go work out together at some point in the show after this conversation.
That would be hilarious.
Definitely a chance that happens. Okay.
I feel like whatever relationship they have would not survive. Like, if he is very much I just want to get in and get it done and get it over with, I don't think he would survive.
But he's never worked out with Gion before. She's gonna make it fun. Want to be at the gym all day.
That's true. Okay, fair.
All right, it's time to text people.
Oh yeah,
it's that time of night. Here we go, Sarah. What do we got?
Jisoo gets some texts, which is nice. Her first one says, "You worked hard today," and we find out this is from Tae. And then she gets, "Thanks for the tumbler," which is from Wonbin, obviously.
Yeah, first time I believe Wonbin has texted Jisoo. Let's go, Sarah. We're doing it this episode.
Is it the first time?
Planting the seeds.
I think didn't he text her before to be like, "Don't be upset" or something like?
Oh.
Or
I think
I feel like he might have texted her once before. Okay, maybe.
Wonbin tells us that talking to Jisoo on the deck made him feel more comfortable with her. Smiley face in my notes.
And
all right.
This is also an explanation for the text he sent, because it was more casual language, because he's feeling comfortable, like he was able to talk to her comfortably too. So there's another layer there.
Okay. And then what Jisoo says about the text from Tae is that she thinks the message is funny and shows Tae's personality. The text was just, "You worked hard today."
Well, it's sort of like he says the minimal amount sometimes, He's very just like, meh. But then we get like a confessional from him that feels like really thoughtful about this text, and he was like grateful for how much work she did put in for the big feast for Hidu,
I don't think that's coming.
That didn't come out in his text, but yeah.
Yeah.
In the confessional, it sounds really nice. He just needs to turn that into text.
Yeah. Because Tae's not going to get any text. And I just wrote, "This guy can't catch a break."
Which is a bummer. Yeah, like Jisoo 100% should have texted him. They sang in the street together. Like, that looks like they had a good time. But no.
The conversation on the deck with Wonbin was better than that entire Tae experience. What can you do? You can understand that, Sarah. Come on.
A bummer.
You can understand.
It's just a bummer.
Well, you want Wonbin to have not gotten any texts? Or you'd be more upset if Wonbin got no text, right?
I think Wonbin would handle getting no text better than Tae would at this point. Like, Tae has not gotten a text in so long.
All right, well, I'm very happy that Wonbin is going to get one text from Jisoo.
"Thank you for looking after me. I feel reassured thanks to you."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, from Jisoo.
They both texted each other, Sarah. Let's go. We're doing it.
This is the first time that has happened, yeah.
We are doing it. We've made it.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I think we are. They're getting back together. It's official.
It's official. They text each other on the same day. Write it in stone.
Makes sense to me.
It's not just that they text each other. It's kind of just like, I feel like there's like a big change in the, even what just the edit is showing us about how they're talking about each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is like, okay, maybe they were very consistent, like talking like about how they didn't want to get together, and then now they've switched, but good chances like the edit is kind of picking and choosing what to show us, and they're they're building this back up after they broke it down kind of situation. But okay, who's next? I think we're on to Gion, right?
Yes. Her text is, "Your message was cute." This is
right.
from Hidu. That's all he can say. He calls things cute.
Yeah, at least he said this directly to her earlier, so it's obvious. But
yeah,
he probably could have said anything; it would have been obvious, as long as she only got one text. I guess there's always that risk that the person you're texting is going to get multiple texts, so that text, then you like really want to make sure they know it's you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Hidu gets one text.
It says, "What? Gwang?"
Gwang?
Which I was so confused about.
Yeah.
But we do get a flashback to like, this is a thing he said earlier in the car that she thought was hilarious. And so it's a nice little inside joke from Gion, which is exactly what you want to do in a text,
Yeah. They show this highlight though of like the conversation that had this comment in it. And I almost feel like she's referencing something in their conversation that they had that he might not even remember. It was really funny to her because she's like some specific way that he said this. But to him, like, he was just talking and then she was laughing about it.
I think she did explain, like, oh, the way you say that is so funny. It makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Hopefully that will like trigger something in his brain.
It was a bit of an extended conversation. It wasn't just like an off comment, but I feel like they talked about so many things throughout the day that, maybe he won't even remember this. It wasn't a super impactful moment.
But also, who else is texting this guy, right? He's got to know it's from her.
Yeah. Even in confessional, when she's talking about this text, she's like super giggly about this text. She like still thinks it's like super funny. I don't think Hinu ever laughed at all, or definitely not as much as Ji-yeon's laughing about it.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. All right. And then Gyumin is going to get 2 texts.
Come and see the flowers. This is from Nayeon.
Oh no, Sarah. I just wrote, oh no, do not go back to her room again. Don't go back to her room.
I invited him to my room. Oh my God. And she says she previously told him to come to her room and talk, but he didn't. So that's why she sent this message. So like,
or she like casually said like, come by my room and talk, like, but not a specific time.
Yeah.
Or anything. Yeah.
So like, I don't know if that was like after the previous night nonsense and now he's like, I can't go in that room. Oh no. Or if just he hadn't gotten around to it and it was from before. Unclear.
I thought it was like a comment that happened a while ago.
It might be. Sure. Yeah. But,
do you think
danger zone?
So like, I feel like if Nayeon knew that Haein was Gyumin's ex, like she wouldn't be trying to have conversation. She'd be like, let's go somewhere else and talk. You don't think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I think
Nayeon would be more self-conscious about the situation if she knew that Haein was Gyumin's ex.
Oh yeah. I mean, she likes Haein, like they're the closest. Exactly. Like she's her closest person in this house.
Yeah. To the point that like I feel like she would almost think like, oh, Haein must not be Gyumin's ex because Gyumin is willing to come talk in my room so often. No.
Or I think to a certain extent, like they've had conversations where they're like, maybe we're making each other sad, but I think she might just be willfully pushing that thought down and like trying not to think about who Gyumin's ex is so she doesn't have to face it.
I just took that as like, wouldn't it be funny comment, but wasn't actually thinking about it, whether it was true or not. Yeah. Yeah. All right. What did we say what the second text Gyumin got was?
No, it's
okay.
I hope we can talk more from now on. This is from Haein.
Yeah.
This is
what can she say at this point?
Yesterday, but like yesterday was the big fight. And today their interaction was her kind of calling him short. And then this is what she texts him. Like, we don't see anything else where it's casual and fine. So it just feels weird and abrupt. We probably did miss some rather benign interactions where she sat next to him and it was fine. But
yeah,
it feels like a weird jump from fight to this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're definitely getting to the point where it feels like Haein should have given up. But,
oh, yeah.
There's still like
not just
some percent chance, so she's hanging in there. And this is what can she text really if she's just trying to hang in there?
But like what really kills it for me is not just like, yeah, she should give up, like clearly he's not into her, but like she is perceiving the way he's acting as like hurting her, like purposeful hurting her, right? Like whether or not that's what's happening, that's how she's perceiving everything. Why does she still want him? At some point she should be like, oh, this is a trash man. I should not want to be with him. Yeah. Look at how he treats people.
That I don't get.
Another level of just like why I'm like, hey, get over this.
Yeah. I can't explain that. Other than they were in a relationship for 7 years, so
yeah, I guess.
Don't know how that feels. So, but yeah, they go to Gyumin in confessional, and he's like, I wonder if she still has lingering emotions about us. Something like that.
But he's also like, why does she keep doing this? Yeah, this man doesn't understand human feelings.
Maybe this is an older confessional, but at this point to say, I wonder if she still likes me, essentially, is what he was saying
that's
here.
Some dumb shit to say.
I'm going to say this confessional is out of context, maybe a little bit. Han gets 0 text. Sad face.
Yes, because she's not putting the work in with anybody else.
She's not, yeah. I'm rooting for Han to start getting to date other people more than I am Tae, though, I think. I'm more invested in the Hae person than I am Tae, yeah.
No, I want Tae to start dating. That would make me happier than Haeun. I would just be happy if Haeun would stop crying. That's all I need.
Okay.
Which I guess does probably require her to date somebody else and stop.
The biggest reason I want to see Haeun start dating somebody else is I just want to see how Gyumin acts when Han starts having a good time with some other guy in the house and stops texting him. And I just want to see how Gyumin reacts to that. Because
it'll probably be a garbage reaction, honestly, he'll be petty and weird about it.
I don't think Gyumin's going to be indifferent to it. It feels like... Yeah, I think he's going to have a reaction for sure. Yeah, Han's going to also tell us, before all this stuff with the show, I think, happened, I think she thought Gyumin didn't want to get back together with her, but she, agreed to come on the show because she thought, oh, once he sees me, then he might have a change of mind.
It's going to change his mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she might have been right about that. I think there's some logic to that makes sense.
Yeah. But then she goes on to be like, oh, well, I still have time. He's coming around. But, at this point, she's never gotten a text from him. And now she's just like, yeah, he doesn't have any feelings for me.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
In theory, give up time, right?
Yeah.
Be done with it.
Except she just got tempted by this X room nonsense. So,
yeah.
Yeah. We're going to get into this later because I have feelings about this, but Han is just, she just really just got fucked by the production, so bad, with this whole situation.
Oh, yeah.
Her plan was to come in on day 1 and Gyumin will see me and it'll spark the feelings again. And, and later we're going to find out that...
But no, he came in first and got feelings for somebody, so it's too late.
And later we're going to find out that, she was actually the one that was more saying, oh, I think I would want to, see somebody else, date somebody else. And then, she wasn't totally against Gyumin, but she was more interested in dating somebody else. But then she gets put in the show late. Gyumin has already, spent time in the house and is, dated the girls, and Haeun knows about it. And now Haeun is full defense mode, just trying not to lose Gyumin. Or I don't know, the decision to put Haeun as a late person in the house, which I don't think had anything to do with logistics, it was just a choice by production.
Yeah.
Really just screwed her over with the whole plan she had coming into this. So I have some major sympathies for Haeun on this show for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at this point, she is also aware that he has feelings for Nayeon. So she is correct on that front. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Oh, wait. That wasn't even the last text. Okay. Nayeon actually got one more text. Or just got one text.
Yes. Yeah. It's let's go shopping for perfume next week. That's
Boom.
From Gyumin. So there
Date
we go.
Confirmed, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the end of that text should have added on to. Just
But despite this great date confirmed text, we get a confessional from her where she's actually kind of bothered for the first time by the "you didn't get selected by your ex" text.
Yeah, what the hell?
Feeling all kinds of jealous today.
Oh, random.
And she says that Heedu likes tall, fancy women who dress fashionably, and Jiyeon is really cool, so he's totally gonna be into her.
But does tall, fancy, and dressing fashionably make you cool? Are those things hand in hand? She didn't say that Jiyeon is tall, fancy, and dresses fashionably. She just said Jiyeon's cool.
Well, we do know that Jiyeon is tall.
Yeah, I think, but I don't think she's fancy.
I don't think she's fancy either, but Nayeon in this moment thinks that Jiyeon is just fits all the criteria for Heedu. She is very jealous right now.
I also don't think she dresses fashionably, although I guess maybe fashionably is in the eye of the beholder to some degree, but she really likes to wear overalls. That's her favorite article of clothing, right? It's not like she's wearing designer brands or whatever.
Yeah, I think she might be rather than a traditional fashionable person, she's a more on the quirky streetwear side or something, not
Okay.
not like Nyan looks like a TV presenter because she is fashionable, but like the cool, edgy fashionable instead. Okay. Maybe.
But is
I mean, I don't know anything about fashion, so who knows?
What kind of fashionable is the one that Hidu likes, though? Because Nyan, I feel like Nyan and Jiyeon seem to be opposites to some degree, right?
Yeah. But Nyan is not being rational right now. She's just freaking out, you know? Okay. She sees them spending time together, and she's just jealous.
Yeah. And she's going to cry in the confessional again. Yep. Basically, I think both times she was talking about
just
being
like
jealous, she was crying.
Little crying.
Yeah, not
like open wailing crying, like we get elsewhere. Yeah. Different kind of cry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And no, we finish up with the text, and it's the next day, Sarah. Let's go.
Oh my gosh, 2 days in one episode?
This Amazing. Is the pacing I like, you know. Let's I get that stuff happens at night sometimes, but I like this. Okay. Let's go.
And everybody has to be out of the house by 10 a.m. because they can't risk anybody figuring out who's going to the X room or not, or who belongs with who. Everybody needs to leave.
The translation is all participants must go out for security. Which made it seem like maybe the building was going to collapse or something, so they needed to exit immediately. But I think it's just because of the not finding out who's each other's ex. Okay.
So now we're going to take this group of people who wake up between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. and make them leave the house at 10 a.m. So they're all wide awake and very happy.
Yeah, they all leave the house together, and then they all walk up the hill as a group of 8. Mm-hmm. Which was interesting to watch. I don't think we've seen that before.
Yeah.
At some point on the way up, Jisoo is going to tease Hidu for his puffy face.
Aww.
Yeah.
Even after he learned the secret to depuff
I don't know what the context of this teasing him was, but okay.
It's probably just extra puffy because he woke up so early.
I guess so. Yeah. I just mentioned it because it was just something we were talking about again. I couldn't believe it actually came up on the show. But all right, it's time for the X room.
Yeah. And
guess who's first?
Aeon's our first person going to the X room.
Maybe the
Surprise.
first and maybe last. We don't know.
That's true. But yeah, coming into this, she is pretty sure she's just going into a room to talk to Gyun. That's what she thinks is happening.
That's what I thought too. And I wrote down in my notes at before she's walking to this, essentially another house that's going to have multiple rooms in it. But as she's walking to the house, I said okay, here we go. I was also the impression that I thought everybody would want to do it. So I thought maybe Gyun would be here. So, but I wrote okay, here we go. No excuses for Gyun here. He can't hide behind the wall of, I don't want people to find out where X is, this is his time to just say, no one else is around. No one's going to find out about this conversation. Just say what's going on and let Haeun know. That's how I felt going into this. This needs to happen.
How you dealing with that disappointment?
I'm a little peeved again about this Gyun guy.
Yeah, that's fair.
Basically, Haeun is going to go through 2 different rooms of memories without Gyun being there. And we'll go through those. But then she is going to get a chance to talk to Gyun. So that is going to happen. But we'll go through the details right now. Haeun arrives and is going to read a sign.
It's welcome to the X room. Here you can go over the relationship with your ex. The first room will give you past memories. The second room will give you a glimpse into the current state. Open the door and enter now.
Yeah. And by current state, they mean 2 weeks ago before the show started. So not really the current state at all. Yeah, okay. Not super helpful. I was so confused by this description. I had no idea what was about to happen.
Yeah. She goes into what I am going to call a museum of sadness. It is relics from their past, lots of letters they wrote each other when he was in the military, pictures they took together, lots of things they've said about each other hanging from the ceiling. And she is sobbing the whole way through. This feels just like another way to torture Haeun. Production is really mean. They put this woman through so many things, and this is not a good one.
Absolutely. This room is actually insane. They have so many documents from their relationship in this room.
Yeah. And clothes she gave him, clothes he gave her, all kinds of gifts and things, and I'm like, how do all these things still exist?
Exactly. And
it's ridiculous.
I didn't even make that connection. I just thought it was crazy that how many of these like the fact that they wrote so many letters to them was like crazy to me. And then Heian puts together later like, wow, he must like this. I didn't have this stuff, which means Human must have had it and like gave it to production to fill out this room.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of stuff in this room. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, as soon as she enters the room, she gets a sad face. And like you said, yet another entire segment of the show made for Heian. And basically it's just going to make her sad. Like every step of the way on the show, Heian is just getting messed with and getting the worst end of the stick. It's so bad. I feel so bad for her.
There is one thing though that was kind of funny to me, which is there's this photo, like it's from like a photo booth, and like I think she had written on it, and it says, "Human, I'll hate you if you don't think about me." And I'm like, that is such a like Heian thing to write. Like that lines up exactly with all of her texts and shit from this show.
Yeah.
And it's from their past. So she has always had this like weird way of saying shit. And it was kind of funny to me.
I mean, you don't know. This could happen like 7 years ago, or I don't really know how long ago these things were, but yeah.
But this like vaguely spiteful like streak has always existed.
Yeah. But again, this room, like, despite her being sad in this room, like this realization that like, wow, Human kept all this stuff is like, I feel like reopens the door for her a little bit, even though it's like a really painful experience. Which again, it was like, it felt like, I don't know, she was figuring it out. She was about to move on. And then they're like, wait, don't you want to just a little more temptation here? Heian, Human might still like you. Oh, man.
And then like, it's not even all good stuff though. Like, because as you like move down, like there's all these notes hanging from the ceiling. And as she moves towards one end of the room, they start being about when they broke up. And then there's this big letter that she wrote to him to like try to be like her final attempt to be like, let's stay together, that she never mailed. And so she like reading through this whole letter of just like all of her sad feelings from forever. And it is a rough room. You shouldn't make anybody do this.
And then this letter though, like she wrote this letter and decided not to send it. And she said she didn't send it because she had realized that like the relationship was over, you know?
Yeah.
So that makes me think, you know, like she did at some point give up on Human and was fine with it being over, or at least had accepted it. And then Human invited her on the show, you know? Which is like, it's so messed up. Oh man. Also the like, so at the end of the room, like you were saying, like there's like these cards that have things written on them that have to do with like their breakup or like how they broke up with each other, which I can't tell if they're like things they texted each other or they just, when they interviewed them, these are the things that they said they said to each other.
I think it's a mix.
Yeah.
I think it's a mix. And like there were definitely some things that were like Instagram posts or whatever. So like they've casted a wide net of whatever these people were willing to turn over to them, basically.
Yeah. But a lot of the stuff in Heian and Human's memory room is like actual handwritten notes that they delivered to each other. But then at the end here, it's like these cards that are just like made up by production with like supposed quotes that they said to each other when they broke up. Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a little goofy. Hannah's going to say the way Human is now is a stark contrast to the past. Did she specify exactly, or is that him? He's a little like colder now. It might just be like how he treats her is way different, or do you think she actually thinks he's way different now?
I think it's how he treats her.
Okay.
Because she keeps going on about how he treats her like worse than a stranger.
Okay. Yeah. Because she says the two of us have changed so much. All this is in the interest of the viewers, I think, here is like you're trying to kind of piece together like what happened in their relationship is like why this is supposed to be interesting, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I wrote down some of the breakup quotes. Okay. It never tells us like who said this to who. But I guess we're supposed to assume like Human is saying a lot of these. But it says, "Let's break up for real this time. I have been sorting through my emotions. I am not the right person for Haeun. These must just be like direct quotes from their interviews. It has to be.
Yeah. There's one that's, I hope you meet someone who is exactly like you. And it's something that he said to her, and she's just like, that was the worst. That hurt me so bad.
Oh, really?
Because, like, it wasn't like, I hope you meet someone exactly like you. It's more like, I hope you meet someone exactly like you. You go through what I went through dating with you, sort of vibe.
Oh, you think she took it that way? I didn't even interpret
I think
it that
that's
way.
entirely how it was meant to be.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Like, it was not
Dang,
nice. It was not a nice phrase.
I'm super anti-human, but I didn't even interpret that like that. Damn. That's like a pop song right now. Or there's definitely a famous song that's like,
oh, really?
I don't know if it's current or not, but it's like, I hope you find somebody and then they break up with you like you broke up with me, basically. I hope they make you super happy and then destroy your life.
Yeah, those vibes. That's what this
there were other more hurtful things. I thought there's one, being with you doesn't excite me or make my heart flutter as it did in the past.
Oof. Yeah.
I didn't want to hear your news at all. I'm assuming that means like I didn't care about what you did during the day kind of vibes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah. All right. I don't know if that really helped us get to the bottom of it, but
well, there is a thing from her letter that she didn't send that stood out for me, which is, I refuse to end the relationship because of my mistake.
Yeah.
So we're still in the, like, we vaguely, like, they've indicated that she did something or she's the reason. And we sort of get some stuff from, like, the pre-filming confessional things that further goes to explain it, but honestly,
she's gonna
confuses me more.
Yeah, she's gonna go to a second room, and then basically she's gonna.
Well, this is even before. This is before that. They just cut to it straight just to like explain some more stuff. She says that like things were lukewarm in their relationship, and she hadn't partied with her friends in her early 20s because she had Gyumin, and either like she was busy with him or he didn't like partying. I don't know.
She visited him every weekend. It never had a weekend
that's true.
to herself. Yeah.
But then she became curious about partying in her mid-20s, and she would go out drinking without telling him, and did many things that broke his trust, which I don't know what that means, but it's, I mean, I always circle back to it sounds vaguely like she cheated on him, but they never say that. I don't know.
It like kind of sounds like that, but I can't imagine, or maybe this would make sense, like if we think it's like the worst case scenario, like she actually cheated on him. It seems crazy to me that Gyumin would be like, I'm gonna invite her on this TV show and then treat her like terribly. Like, I guess that would make sense to some degree, but from what we've seen.
But it also seems crazy to me that he would be like, you're partying all the time? Break up. I feel betrayed. Unless it's like some addiction level problematic partying. I don't understand this. She suddenly was interested in partying and therefore breakup time.
Yeah.
So I don't know what we're missing.
Yeah. Gyumin phrases it something like she became someone I didn't think she was, or something like that. I don't know. To me, like the hosts of the show are going to say like, I don't think anything big happened. They just like changed as people, and then like their dynamic like didn't work anymore. I think it's like the general breakdown the hosts are gonna give.
I feel like Gyumin and Nayeon always talk, or Taeyeon always talk about it like a big, like there was a moment where a thing happened, you know? But they never really flesh that out enough where it makes sense to me. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it would make perfect sense because they started dating so young that of course they're going to change as people. And it's perfectly fine if you change as people and now you don't vibe with the new people that you've become. Like, that's totally normal.
Exactly.
And happens to everybody.
But then that's not a mistake that you refuse to be the end of a relationship, you know? Like, it's...
But she's the one that really wanted the relationship to keep going. So I think she's just willing to, like, take the responsibility because she just wants the relationship to work out. Is at least how... Like, I could see it being that. I don't know. It could really be any range of, like, they just change as people, and Haeun is willing to say she made a mistake, even though... I mean... If you're not communicating with your partner about like the daily things you're doing and it's making them worry about you or feel a different way about you.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you should be communicating, and maybe there's a little bit of, maybe it's more her fault than his fault, if that's the case. Maybe that's how innocent of a mistake we're talking about. Or it could be as extreme as like, yeah, something that usually and immediately ends relationships happened.
Yeah.
But then even if that's the case, I still feel a certain way about Guman asking her to be on the show. So it's like, it's very confusing all the way through. You could interpret it any way to be, I think, to be either like Team Guman or Team Heian. Like, you just decide what the story is.
These people shouldn't be together.
Absolutely.
It's really what I'm at.
I'm yet to see anybody that should be with Guman, but Heian, like, outside of the being obsessed with Guman, like, Heian seems like a cool person to me.
Yeah, I just think she has a lot of like emotional healing to do before she could be with someone in a healthy way, you know?
Yeah, but I totally think she'll get there eventually, and it won't be a big deal. All of this Guman stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Guman says at some point in these confessionals, when Heian was younger, she focused on him, but then he noticed that she had less energy for him, so he thought their relationship was no longer a good fit. Now, this could literally be just, hey, they changed as people, or it could be he's really avoiding saying what she did because he doesn't want to say what she did.
Doesn't want to say she was focusing on someone else. Yeah. Or something. I think he also says, she might not be the person who I thought she was. I thought she liked me only. I had that fantasy. That fantasy shattered for the first time then, which is in reference to her partying time.
Yeah.
And so that still sounds a little cheaty to me, but they never go as far to say that. And it could just be party times. I don't know. Regardless,
I can't decide. Yeah.
Don't take this lady on this show.
Yeah. Heian says one night she went drinking with her friends without contacting Guman. And then she phrases this as, I got caught, but just I got caught partying, which maybe is something they didn't do. Or maybe they're like, I don't know. I haven't got the sense that like Guman's anti-drinking, although he is like going to bed earlier than other people. So maybe he has similar feelings.
But he did drink a whole lot on that date with Nayeon. Like
that's true. Yeah.
He specifically got real drunk.
Yeah. So he's not like me where like I don't drink and then I don't particularly like hang out with people when like drinking is the main activity going on.
Yeah.
So it's not like that. I don't think he feels that way. But then Heian says, I fell asleep without contacting him. And then Guman was shocked because his innocent girlfriend was partying at night. So it could just be as simple as like, hey, Guman really liked it when Heian spent all her time focused on him. And then she stopped focusing entirely on him. And then Guman was like, this isn't enough attention. I'm done with this. Like, that's what it could be also.
It's like either there is some unspoken horrible thing she did, or he's just a monster. Like, I don't know how else to interpret this. Because that's a ridiculous way to treat someone.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with Han becoming a person that wants to hang out at night and have a good time.
Yeah. And then him being like, oh, you're not who I thought you were. I'm very, I mean, the like level of just the fact that there is blame put on her for this feels wrong. If that's the thing, if they're just different people and have realized that, it should be more amicable than.
Yeah. Well, Guman, in fairness to Guman, he at never point is going to say that like, she made a mistake. I don't think he ever says that. That's actually only the word that Heian is using.
That she uses. Okay, that's fair.
It could be because like she feels like she made a mistake because that is what she did ended up ruining the relationship. But from Guman's perspective, he might actually be thinking, oh, you didn't make a mistake. You just changed as a person, and that's not what I'm looking for in a relationship. And I'm fine with that. Like, if somebody changes and like this isn't the relationship you're looking for.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
That happens. And I'm not going to tell Guman like, he has to stick it out because of she used to be somebody she's not anymore. Like I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
Of it. Yeah.
But you got to know that he did not use the right words if that was the case.
Yeah.
Just, like, I don't think he articulated that sentiment really well.
Yeah. Okay, because then Heian is going to say, after that incident where she partied and like didn't tell him and then just went to bed without like talking to him.
Mm-hmm.
That was gonna like start their breakup, but then Han did everything to try to get him back, and it worked for a little bit, but it was awkward, it seemed. And then after that, Han made it seem like she was like holding back her feelings about certain things because she didn't want to like upset him.
Like he would be really busy and she wouldn't complain that he didn't spend time with her or whatever.
Yeah.
And then that all built up and then she broke up with him.
Yeah. And I'm guessing, I'm just putting the pieces here, that like the night that she decided to like finally express her feelings about like, oh, she wants to spend more time with him or whatever was going on, like that was the night that Guman was sick, you know? And
oh yeah,
so it could have been like really unfortunate timing that like her emotions boiled over on the day that like Guman just like, I can't deal with this right now kind of thing. And then I guess that's the night that Guman broke up with her on the phone, is what I'm guessing, is the night that she couldn't hold back her feelings anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, super interesting. Wish we knew the exact facts, but no, interesting. Oh, this is another Han got screwed by production moment, because she's actually going to get to read the introduction letter that Guman wrote about her to the house.
Yeah,
which is super unfair that she never got to see this until now. Did you write down the introduction letter? I did.
Yeah, shall I read it?
Go ahead.
Han is someone who makes you smile. She dances in the street when there's music. She screams when she's surprised. She's thankful and happy. She loves without hesitation. So express your love to her. If you fight, apologize first. Then Han will make you a special person. I learned a lot from Han. She affected my way of living. I wish Han all the best. I hope she meets someone nice and becomes happy.
Yeah. Han is going to make it seem like she didn't realize that her letter was going to be read to everybody in the house, but
yeah.
You can imagine how, you know, if Han showed up in the house day one, and then she got to read this letter out loud to the house, and how all the other guys in the house might have looked at her after reading this letter, maybe in a positive way. And maybe, you know, the other big thing that didn't happen is that they got randomly assigned to be on dates in the house before she got there. So she could have been randomly assigned to Guman, and then that could have got them back together. Or she just could have gotten to date any guy in the house that would have also heard all this nice stuff that Guman said about her and would have been interested in her. And then she would have been interested in that guy, and then she wouldn't maybe have been focusing on Guman as much, you know?
Or ideal scenario, she comes in first, Guman comes in late. She's already like in a relationship with some guy. It's all fine.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if the exact opposite happened, where Guman was like super jealous that she found somebody else and was moving on with somebody else. And it's hard to imagine anybody else being more upset than Han was, but
yeah, we're not going to end up watching Guman cry for like 12 episodes. So.
I don't think so, but I think, you know, Guman would also struggle coming in late in the house.
Yeah.
Is what I think. So many levels of Han just being screwed by production. Totally unfair. She never had a chance. She never had a chance with Guman, and she even just dating the other guys. Like, there's going to be a chance later, like once she gets through this stuff, but she's just even more behind than we were even suggesting earlier in other episodes.
Yeah.
She's so far behind.
Yep.
I also think production didn't let her read this introduction letter, even for herself. But before she came into the house, they did let her know that Guman was going on a date with somebody already. Like, they didn't let her find that out naturally. It was like, just so you know, because this is like, we're trying, we think we can manipulate you this way. Guman has already gone on a date with somebody before you get in the house. Ugh, so messed up.
Yep, 100%.
And then when she reads the last line of this letter, I hope she meets someone nice and becomes happy, she interprets this as, oh, he wants me to date someone else. So if she had read this on the first night of being in the house and production gave it to her, she wouldn't have turned into this person that thinks that Guman wants to get back together with her. Or there's a chance, you know?
But also I think, like, everybody else's letters also was like, I hope they meet someone. You know, like there was, I feel like all the intro letters were of a, oh, they're here to meet somebody else sort of vibe, except for hers, who was just like, don't touch him. He's mine.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But no one in the house turned into Hayon. Right?
Because
Because they got to read the letters.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I rest my case until I get to more information down my notes.
This show should not be called Transit Love. It's Production Tortures Hayon is really what this show is.
Yes, I think that's the main storyline for me anyway. All right, then Hayon's gonna finally leave the first room. She's not done yet. She has to go over to the second room.
Yeah. And it's just basically there's a projector and it is going to show some of what both of them had said during their like pre-show interviews with production.
But even this is also kind of silly because they're not showing them like start to end of the entire interview. It's like whatever production decides to show them to make them feel a certain way is what they're going to be seeing.
Yeah.
And they like when each one of them said like, oh, I'll go to the X room. This is not what they signed up for. Like they didn't sign up to be like,
100%
be manipulated by production. It's like they just thought they're going to have a one-on-one conversation with their ex. So
exactly.
yeah, this is really messed up to me. So far, all the rooms garbage so far, right? I don't think have I said anything positive about any of the rooms? Other than that, they're kind of entertaining.
No, they did. The very first chat room where they got to chat with their exes, you were like, oh, maybe this will help them move on.
Oh yeah, because they highlighted Wanbin and Jisoo.
A good thing about that.
Wanbin and Jisoo, like
we're now getting back together, probably.
Yeah. But they highlighted them the most, and they were the most like, okay, I see where we stand. Like, let's date other people, and they were like very logical,
healthy, and reasonable. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there are aspects of these rooms that like is entertaining and interesting to watch.
Oh yeah. Also extremely mean to everyone on this
ultimately, show. I feel bad for the people that have to participate in it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Like the beginning of this video here is just like productions asking Gyumin, what comes to mind when you think of your ex? And he's just like, oh, she smiled and was happy all the time. And she was always laughing. And then it cuts to her just absolutely sobbing like at all of this. And it's just like, look what you've done to this woman. Like, this is ridiculous.
Gyumin described her as so cheerful and amazing. And then production just made her into the opposite person of what Gyumin is describing. Oh man, there's a weird moment in the confessionals where Gyumin says like, "Oh, it became hard for him to date other women after breaking up with Hayon." But like, was that in the context of being like, "Oh, she was so great," so like he was comparing the women to her, or what was it? I didn't.
Well, I thought okay, so production asked like, "How was the relationship with another person after breaking up?" And he's like, "I compare them a lot."
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was sort of the opposite, where he's like, when I met someone new, I realized that the relationship with Hayon had given him a hard time.
Oh,
like he went into a new relationship and was like, "Oh, this is so much better than what I had before."
Oh, okay. I didn't pick up on that. You might be right. But then Gyumin is going to say, when the production asks him, "Are you open to getting back with your ex?" He's going to say, I'm 50-50 on dating Hayon again. So he must still like something about her.
Well, he says he doesn't want to date her again right now, but he's sure that when he meets her, he'll probably get swayed.
Yeah, which is exactly what Hayon's logic was, right?
Yeah.
Hayon knows this guy.
Yeah, and in some of his confessionals, even he's like, I'm trying to stay away from her because I don't want to get swayed.
Yeah.
But he also does think that she might hate him because he was really cold to her at the end of their relationship. But if there's anything this show has taught me, it's that he can be very cold to her and she will still be absolutely obsessed with him. So
yeah,
she doesn't hate him.
Yeah, she definitely like still liked him enough that like she would get back together like before this whole show process. But she had moved on, it seems, and then this
this just triggered a whole bunch of
it's
stuff
just
for
so
her. Yeah,
rough.
And then they show her responding to the same question, and she's like, you know, I only really remember him being cold. And because of that, you know, I think I'll choose somebody else. And then she, again, like, talks about how, yeah, she did something wrong in their relationship. But what can she do about it? She wonders if he'll understand her or not. But she's mostly just like, yeah, I'm going to go for somebody new.
And how did you feel about Guman's description of like how he felt before they broke up, basically? Because this is what he says. He says, I feel like I was restricting her. I feel sorry and resented myself for that. Do you think this him like, I don't know how to feel about this answer. It doesn't feel genuine to me, this answer.
I mean, it goes along with the party line sort of story we've gotten so far, where it's like she wasn't able to explore her party self while she was with him, and like over time, by not being able to do that when she finally did, maybe she went a little too hard, you know? And so like maybe he blames himself for that or something.
Okay. I guess that makes sense, yeah. That would make it seem like, okay, nothing big happened. I would agree with the hosts now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did agree with them, but I think I'm leaning that way. Like nothing big happened, and I could see this feeling. Yeah, okay, now that I'm thinking about it more, I think I get where he's coming from with these comments. But this is the exact opposite of Heian made a mistake, right? Like he's not saying that. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I guess, I mean, you were right. Like that's always been her storyline. Like I can't remember a time when he specifically said she made a mistake, really.
Yeah. And if she cheated on him, I think he would at least be able to say she made a mistake, right? I think he would say
That's fair. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All right. I think this is just young people who dated and then changed as people. That's what I want to believe.
Yeah, but it just got so dramatic about it. It just felt like something bigger had to have happened. Yeah. But okay.
Guman says Heian's type is someone who is fit and works out, wears comfy clothes like tracksuits. I just wrote, Heian seems pretty cool in my notes.
Yeah, I'm sure she is, but she's not crying all the time. Yeah. Just got to get past that part.
Imagine if her and Hidu were there on the first day, and then Guman had somehow, they were asking each other about each other's exes, and Guman said this.
Mm-hmm.
They'd have been like, oh, Heian,
yeah,
that's my kind of person. Something like that. I don't know. But then this is why I didn't take the someone similar to herself comment, because he says it in this confessional, like, I think she will get along with someone who is similar to herself in a way that, like, I don't think this, when he says it in like the pre-show confessional, like this was meant in a like,
yeah, it's not spiteful here, but like she specifically reacted to that card in that room in a way where she's like, oh, it hurts to think about when he said that to me. So like,
you thought that's how
she different contexts, yeah.
And then Guman says he would hate it if Heian ended up dating someone else on the show.
Well, then you shouldn't bring somebody on a show that you feel that way about. Like
that's true too. Yeah, that got me excited though. I was like, oh, Heian, just start dating someone else. I want to see this. I want to see this. I want to see if this feeling still exists in Guman.
Yeah. You want to watch him squirm? I get it.
And that's about the end of the video.
And then she gets a text. And it's that her ex is waiting for her, and then it gives an address.
If production hasn't done enough yet.
But this is finally what she wanted, you know?
One last troll here.
She went through the gauntlet, the Museum of Sadness, which now she's getting where she wants to go.
I got so excited by this. Because, like, okay, this is what I assumed. I assumed they would only be talking to each other if they both went to the X room.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah, so I was like, oh. Guman went to the X room. And actually, the whole time while like Heian was in like the first room, I was like kind of expecting Guman to like enter, and then they would like go through the memories together. Like I thought that was gonna happen. I thought that would actually be more interesting. Oh. Maybe they would have done that if they both agreed to it. But we're gonna find out that Guman actually didn't agree to it to go to the X room.
Of course not.
Which means he doesn't go. But then production still makes him go have a one-on-one conversation with Heian. Which is super unfair to Heian. At this point,
well, no, I think like she needed this, even however poorly it goes or whatever. Like she needed this, or she was gonna implode. You know, like
yes, but she's
the one kindness
she gets in like a taxi or whatever, and she thinks she's being brought to Guman, who also just saw the X room and like wants to talk to her and as asked to talk to her. So she's preparing on this drive the whole way. Like, Guman wants to talk to me. This is so good. Like, I want to say these things or whatever. But then she's like, as soon as she get there, she's going to be like, oh, so you saw the X room? And he's going to be like, no, I didn't. And then she's going to like instantly have to come up with different things to talk about.
Yeah, readjust everything. Yeah.
Because she made the assumption that I would have made if I was on the show.
But like, literally the first thing he says to her, like she comes and sits down and he's just like, why are you crying again? Because she is still crying.
Because he didn't go to the X room.
Emotional thing. Well, no, like even before she asked, like this is the first thing he says to her. Oh yeah, if he had been there, he would understand why she was crying.
If he had seen the X room and knew that she was coming from there, like she'd be like, oh yeah, of course she's crying.
Yeah.
I was so excited for this conversation until we find out that Guman didn't go to the X room, and then this was just more of the same, really, is how I felt. How did you feel?
Yeah. I was excited regardless of whether he went to the room or not, but I thought he would actually like engage in this conversation, which he doesn't really. And that's ultimately the problem for me, is he's mostly giving her non-answers or just not talking.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck is this guy?
So I actually have sympathy for both of them in this specific situation. Because, like, Guman did not ask to be here. Like, he did not text. He thought, if I don't text, I don't have to talk to my ex. Like, that's what he thought.
That's fair, yeah.
It's fair that, like, you know, Hayan came to this conversation thinking he wanted to talk and is going to ask a bunch of, like, personal questions and stuff like that. And he's, like, really just, he wants to leave. He doesn't want to be there. So he's barely giving answers. Yeah, which to me just kind of, I don't know, kind of takes the fun or even entertainment out of this scene to me to some degree, because I was just like, oh, this is not a thing that's gonna lead to anything. This is just trying to show us that it's definitely over, or I don't know what the goal of this scene was. It was like a twist. It was basically a twist to the X room thing,
except it's what everyone expected the X room to be.
Yeah,
like, it was weird.
Once the twist was revealed, though, I didn't want to watch it. Because I was like, Guman didn't even go. Why he doesn't want to be here? What are we doing?
Yeah. And I think the fact that he didn't go to the X room kind of just like messed with her to an extent where, like, a lot of the conversation here is her just again telling him like, you really hurt me when you said this in that video from 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Or when you said you didn't want to go to the X room. That were like, she's coming in with like a lot of negative accusatory sounding things. And I think if he had gone to the X room, or as she had expected, like, she had probably a better conversation planned. And the fact that he didn't just like put her on this defensive, like, bad mood sort of vibes, like there was no way this was gonna actually be a useful conversation. Yeah. You know?
Especially the way Guman approaches it, like, he's not really in the mood, or I mean, maybe this is actually like the right thing to do if he's reading the situation right, but like he almost like doesn't even the answers he does give like aren't even honest answers, right? Like, she's gonna ask, oh, why didn't you go to the X room immediately? And I think the real reason is like he didn't want to be swayed by the memories, but he just says to her like, oh, I didn't think I had to see it. You know? Which, like, maybe that's like the like what you do want to say, because like, yeah,
if he did give her any indication, that there was a possibility, she would latch onto it and not let go.
So maybe that's not so bad in this case. But yeah, it's basically going to be a similar back and forth like that they had on the terrace earlier, where she's like, why you treat me so coldly? And then he barely answers. Or, you know,
I think he's just like, I didn't want us to look close. And then she's like, but that's a lame excuse. And
they can't use that excuse now, but yeah. Guman even agrees that if she had arrived on the first day, I forget this is confessional or he said this to her, if she had arrived on the first day, things could have changed, could be different.
Yeah.
Long story short, I'm hoping that in the narrative of this show, this is the end of at least the Hayan is obsessed with Guman and Guman doesn't care storyline.
I really don't think it is, though.
You don't?
Because like part of this conversation was, he was like, okay, fine, we can talk more in the house. Like, I'll be better in the house.
That was not even a good response, though, because it was like, because Hayan said so many like pouring your heart out kind of things in this moment, and then Guman's response was like, okay, well, I'll talk to you more in the house now. And she's like, that's not the point of what I'm trying to say, like that, you know, kind of thing. It was like,
she also was like, I think she's gonna follow up on that though and be like, okay, we will talk in the house.
I took it differently, because I thought she was like, wow, that was a really crappy answer to all this like spilling my heart out stuff I said, and that all he could come up with was, okay, I'll talk to you more in the house now. I thought she took that as a negative. that's all he
I mean,
say.
how many times does he give her just like negative bullshit that it should be a reason why you don't like this guy anymore, and she still does? I don't think that's gonna sway her right now.
But in fairness to Han, like, and both of them, like, this is the first time that no one is gonna find out that they talk to each other. So if she was buying the I don't want people to realize we're a couple kind of excuse that he was giving, like that excuse is not available here. So I think this is like a very definite, like, if he's acting this way in this situation, it's legit.
Yeah, but like at the very end, he's just like, okay, I'm gonna go. And she's like, do you have to? And he's like, I should. And she's just like, I'm hungry. Like trying to be like, we should eat some food.
Yeah.
Like anything to get him to stay. Like she's not fed up with him by the end of this.
She's not fed up with him. Like she wants to keep talking. But I don't know. I'll predict that she's gonna back off, and at least hopefully she'll be forced to date some other guy, and things will happen. You know,
we're supposed to get one more pair of people in this house, right? Maybe that guy will come in and she'll just be like, "Oh my god, this is the guy." You know, hopefully, maybe we'll get lucky.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Han.
I hope that happens soon. Jeez, this is real late to enter the show, but anyway, yeah.
I feel bad saying it a little bit, but I still am rooting against Cuban a little bit.
That's okay.
I don't know.
Again, he's a not emotionally available like guy. Like he's not expressive in that way, and so I can't get behind him enthusiastically. You know?
Yeah. So on this show, there's Gyu Min, and then the other show we're watching, Heart Signal 4 right now, there's a Min Gyu. And if you're listening to both our podcasts on those two shows, I could not feel any more opposite about Min Gyu than I do from Gyu Min. Like, to me, they're totally opposite people. I love Min Gyu, and I'm actively rooting against Gyu Min. And in one of the podcasts, I definitely like used the wrong name a couple times, but I'm sure people were able to figure it out.
Yeah. They're at least on separate shows, so it should be easy to follow along.
All right, yeah. He's gonna be like, I'm gonna go now. And Han, like you said, you know, in her mind,
desperate
the
for
reason
him to
she
stay.
wants, she might want him to stay is like, she's like, okay, this is literally the last conversation I might ever have with Human in a one-on-one setting. Yeah. So she doesn't want to end from that standpoint, but she's like, to me, that is another indication that she's acknowledging that like this is the end kind of moment.
But like, yeah, maybe this is the end, but not in a I'm sick of this man sort of way. Just like, I've lost all hope for this. Which I mean is still progress, but I would like for her to just not like him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need her to hate Human. It's just at least see him enough as not somebody she wants to date anymore. Is the goal. But
yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, I don't think she's seeing him that way. She's just seeing like no hope in this path anymore. You know. Yeah.
You're right. If like Human like got to the door and then miraculously turned around and was like, "Just kidding, let's date again," she'd probably be in, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
You're right. If he ever just like randomly asked her on a date, she's not gonna say no. Mm-hmm. But I just think she's not gonna. Let's see if she texts him anymore. I think if she can just stop texting him.
That's the real.
Yeah. Okay. Human awkwardly just decides to leave.
Yep.
All right. Anything else you want to say about this?
That really sad time of the show is over. Yeah.
Okay. Not my favorite segment of the show.
No. But hey, do you want to have the opposite sort of experience about this X room? Because that's what we're about to have. Okay.
I mean, it's not totally the opposite, but okay.
I mean, it's a much better experience.
The opposite would be like, both people go to the X room, they share memories, then they talk, and now they're like, we should date again.
And they get back together. Yeah, okay. Not 100%.
That's not how this is going to go.
Very different, yeah.
This is at least fun to watch, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We've got Ji-yeon going to the X room. Again, she wanted to talk to Tae-yi, so like, that's what she thought this was going to be, and it's not to begin with, so there you go.
They show her sneakily texting the number when Hee-do went to the bathroom at the restaurant. So she didn't want Hee-do to see that she did this. And
I'm going to assume that he texted in the bathroom too. Like, I just feel like they both did that.
We'll see. We're not going to get if anybody else did it in this episode. I feel like, I would just if I was into somebody, I don't think I'd be hiding the fact that I wanted to talk to my ex. Would you? Would you feel like you have to be like super sneaky
I was
about it?
into somebody.
Like she went out
I
of
mean,
her
if I
way
wanted,
to like she joked with Hidu about like going to the X room or not going to the X room, and then when she got up, she like texted the number.
yeah, given the conversation they had, I would just be honest about it.
Yeah.
But if they just got the text and went, "Oh, that's weird," and then didn't talk about it anymore, I wouldn't like text in front of him. I would wait until I was alone to do, like
Yeah.
there's no need for that.
Like if I was having good vibes with somebody on the show, and then we got this letter, and then I texted the number or whatever, I wouldn't like go out of my way to be like, just so you know, I am gonna go talk to my ex. But like in their situation, it was like they were naturally talking about it. Like I wouldn't lie,
Yeah, exactly.
or like try to
yeah
trick them into thinking I wasn't gonna do it and then do it. You know.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, what do you think the mechanics are here? Like, do you think if neither of them texted, they would still talk to each other, or like as long as one of them wants to talk, then?
I think it's as long as one of them wants to talk.
Okay, so if neither of them do it,
if nobody, they're gonna make them.
Okay, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put anything past production at this point.
Well, I mean, it probably depends on which couple was like that,
Oh, maybe
like I think if Wanbin and Jisoo didn't want to talk, they'd be like, okay, whatever. If that's not the storyline that they were trying to worry about, they would be fine. But absolutely 100% Haeun, if she, for however, decided she didn't want to do it, they would be like, okay, well, you're talking to him anyway,
Oh, yeah, that's probably true.
because that's going to be a very dynamic sort of scene,
Yeah. All right, so Jiyeon's at the X room. She walks into the first room, and
it's so empty.
There's like this is what
like nothing in it.
This is what I would expect an X room to be. Like there's nothing in this room. Like nobody had all these like letters and articles of clothing.
There is one picture from a photo booth that's like a series of 4 pictures, and it's up in a frame, and they like leave all these empty frames in the room. Even they're just to
yeah.
You could have so many more pictures here, but
look how empty your memories are.
But she's cheerful and having a good time in there. She's surprised about this one picture because it must have come from Tae. She didn't even know he had it.
Do you think Tae meant to keep this, or it was like production was like, do you have any documents, photos, letters, anything from your relationship? And Tae like looked around and like was like, oh, I found this, here you go. Like if you only had this one thing,
probably had this one thing like in a book or something, like as a bookmark in a book or something, like, but he knew it was around. It wasn't maybe prominent in his house, but like he knew where to find it,
Yeah. I think if there was only one thing, I wouldn't, like, Jiyeon is gonna come to the conclusion, that Tae must have had this. But I wouldn't take it, if it was only one thing, I wouldn't take it as like a strong thing, like, oh, they must have been thinking about me because they happen to have this one item,
I mean, but it is nice that he didn't throw everything away, Yeah.
I guess, yeah. But it also seems like they didn't, like, Haeun and Yumin like send each other's letters all the time. But we're gonna get into Jiyeon and Tae's relationship. Like, I feel like they just didn't have documents to keep,
Yeah. So they do have like stuff hanging from the ceiling, and that's where we get into like Instagram posts and like things they said in interviews, or who knows, probably not even text messages, but like, so it's probably mostly just interview stuff they said, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, it's pretty sparse in there. Oh, she does say in the picture, like, she's wearing these overalls, and she's like, yeah, I still own those, and I brought those with, and I wore them on
I wore the
purpose
specific
to the
overalls.
Because she has good memories with those overalls with him or something.
Yeah. But she was excited to talk to him with the overalls on.
Yeah, definitely.
Jiyeon tells us in confessional that they would do nothing together, and it was still fun.
Yeah, they're both like home buddies. They didn't like to go places, so they just like watch YouTube and talk and hang out,
There's like so little information about their relationship that it's actually like might even be more confusing while they broke up than Haeun and Yumin. Like, I think we just get like a generic like they would fight and then whatever.
Yeah,
seems pretty lame.
And then one fight just was it, just like, What are we even doing here?
There's a comment that like Tae made once where he said like, I wish Jiyeon was my sister, which
yeah,
Jiyeon did not like, but I wrote like, is this why they broke up? Because like we had no information about the specifics.
I think she says that that's his way of like drawing a line to be like, oh yeah, we're never gonna be together. I would rather her be a sister or something.
But like he didn't say this while they were dating. It was like something he said in the confessional, and then they put it on a card.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's kind of weird. I don't think he said this.
No, I'm pretty sure that. I mean, yeah, I don't think he said it when they were dating. I think there's 100% in like the pre-taping interview stuff, and I mean it's still a weird thing to say, but yeah, they took from that to put on the cards in here.
The only like if you're trying to figure out like, okay, what were they arguing about? The only thing that seemed to come up was like maybe Jiyeon started wanting to do things together, like water activities or other activities, and then he never really wanted to do it and would always like convince her not to do it, but maybe they would argue a lot about that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think they also have he like forgot their 100th day anniversary, and that bummed her out. So maybe he's not a milestone celebrating kind of guy, and that was important to her.
Yeah, I respect that, Tae. You know, who cares?
Yeah, I figured you would.
You know, if you're going to be upset about something like that, yeah, maybe you shouldn't be with Tae.
Oh, yeah, those are things that it's important to line up on, you know?
Yeah.
Neither way is right or wrong, but you should line up with those sorts of things with your partner.
Yeah, fair. And we're saying she broke up with him, right? Ultimately.
Yeah, I think she broke up with him in the middle of a fight.
Yeah, and they both say they struggled when they were alone afterwards, probably because they were just so used to each other, didn't know what to do.
Pretty
for fun.
natural.
Yeah, makes sense. This is the most basic ass relationship out of all of them, right? Like,
yeah,
pretty. They didn't even date that long.
Didn't last that long.
They didn't do many things together. It was just kind of like, hey, we like each other. Let's hang out, have a good time, and then once they got to know each other better, they realized. They weren't good for each other, basically. Once it started getting more serious, they realized it wasn't really right.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it's fair to say that Jiyeon does not necessarily remain convinced of that. She's over here feeling feelings all the time about this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get into that when they actually talk face to face. I didn't write a whole bunch from the memory rooms.
Because there's not a whole bunch happening.
Yeah, in the second room, so she gets to see the confessionals. There's going to be a line that she says, like, I felt like our time together was being denied. But I think what she's saying is, like, whenever we would fight, I felt like it was a waste of time or something. Yeah. Like we should just be having a good time together, or what's the point kind of idea.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of the sentiment that came up when she actually, like, broke up with him. You know, it was just like, we're just fighting all the time. What is even the point of
What's
this?
the point? Yeah. Yeah, so they just fought until they said enough is enough, and then they stopped dating. Underwhelmed by these relationship memories overall. Anything else, Sarah?
I mean, she seems to have a pleasant enough time. She gets a little teary-eyed in the video part.
Yeah, she was the opposite of Han. Like, she was just, you know, she didn't know what she was getting into, but she just had a good time with it when she got there.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. But then she's going to get the text saying, Tae is waiting for you. He's ready to talk. He wants to talk to you. Get ready.
So she goes to meet him, and immediately she's just like, so you just came from this room, right? And he's like, nah, I didn't see that room. And she is like shocked. Like, she won't let this go. For a while, she's just like, how did you not go? Why were you not curious? Why would you not go to this? What is wrong with you? And I'm like, there wasn't even a lot in this room. Why are you freaking out so much? You literally took pictures of enough stuff to replicate the situation for him.
But it is big. It means something that he didn't even want to go see what it was. Yeah. Yeah,
that's fair. But yeah, so she feels some kind of way about that, and it's not great.
Yeah. It shows the difference in their personalities for sure. Because he's like, yeah, I didn't want to go. I don't even know if he gives a big reason.
He doesn't really give a reason to her, but we get a confessional, and he's like, yeah, the letter said that the X room would tell us about our ex's feelings, but I'm still trying to figure myself out. I don't want to go deal with this.
Oh, okay.
Fair.
Okay. She's going to tease him again to his face this time, about dyeing his hair and wearing like a sports jacket when he went on the date with Nayeon.
Yeah. She really gets into it. And he's just like, I wear stuff like that sometimes. It's fine.
I appreciate that she says this stuff to his face, though.
Yeah. Instead of just talking shit on him to confessionals.
There was a moment with Yumin and Heian where Heian was like, oh, did any of the girls say what I said in the talking room? Mention what I said in the talking room? And this kind of annoyed me with Yumin. Like, he was like, oh no, they didn't say anything.
Yeah, but then she's like, yeah, I lied about everything. And then he's like, oh, right. Yeah, they did say that you said that I had a lot of friends
like,
who were girls.
Like, why didn't he just say, like, yeah, I heard some stuff or something? I don't know. He just wanted to get away.
He didn't want to engage in it. Yeah, he didn't want to engage in more conversation with her. He just wanted it to be over as quick as possible. That must have been what it is,
yeah. Okay. I'll give Yumin a pass on that whole situation. He didn't want to be there. He didn't sign up for that shit. Okay.
Yeah.
He is going to admit to Jian that no one is texting him, basically.
Yeah, but he says he's having fun because, like, nobody's paying attention to him, so he's just watching everybody, you know? Like, okay.
No one is paying attention to me, but I'm having fun as an observer. What's the translation? That's good. That's a good attitude. That's how I like to think I would be on the show, you know? It's not going good, but it's just fun to be there.
I don't know that I entirely believe him that that's how he feels about it, though, you know? Like, I think that's how he's trying to feel about it.
I believe him in this moment that that's like where he's at. But there were definitely moments that he was sad before, for sure.
Yeah.
And then Jian immediately says, yeah, I don't think anyone likes you.
Oof.
And a couple of seconds later, she's going to say that she was joking and that the girls think that he's nice, which is not something I'd be excited about if I heard. If I were Tae.
I think she does also say that they started talking about how they're seeing unexpected sides of him, and that, like, she's like, yeah, you've been doing the same shit from the beginning, but they're starting to, like, appreciate some of these other things about you that they didn't notice before.
She's really fishing, digging deep for some positive energy to give to Tae here. And because then Tae's response is, I don't think they consider me as human.
Which is,
Tae knows what's
extreme, but
yeah, I mean he's making fun of himself, but also like he knows where he stands a little bit here.
Yeah, he definitely does. Oh, and there's this funny thing, like she says something like, she's complaining about him or something. She's like, I don't know why I'm trying to spend time with you. My energy is just drained whenever I get around you. And he's like, my energy is drained because I just don't get to go on dates. Like he just keeps bringing it up in different silly ways.
I like Tae in this whole exchange here.
Yeah, he's good.
And then at some point, Jian's just going to be like, aren't I the best out of the 4 women? The hosts have a big reaction to this. Like, why would she say that? That's crazy. This is so Jian. She's
trying
Jian,
real hard to just get him to say that she's the best. Like, she obviously just doesn't want to let that go.
I like this personality, you know, like, just, even if it's, like, maybe a little intrusive or aggressive or whatever you want to call it. Like, I like the, like, I'm just going to try to get the information I want out of you kind of approach.
I will say at a certain point, it gets a little much because she doesn't let it go. Like,
yeah.
She's doing everything but telling him that she still has feelings for him, basically, through this whole thing.
Yeah. It's going to get really bad to the point where I think Tae's having fun with this conversation, but definitely Tae's also the one that eventually is just like, I think we should go.
Okay, gonna go. Yeah. But this part right now is still
this is good, still fun, he's like, I think.
Yeah, she's like, I'm the best one, right? And like, if you had to pick one of the 4 to date, who's it gonna be? And he's like, nobody likes me. I can't date anybody. And she's like, no. But if these 4 women, you know, including me, were the only women left in the world, who would you date and have a kid with? And he's like, well, if there are only 4 women left, I'm gonna date them all. It's just like complete opposite. Like, he's just refusing to give her what she wants, which is to choose her. Yeah.
Did she say this? I wrote this down. If you had to marry one and impregnate them with child.
Okay.
I don't think that was the translation, but that's what she essentially said.
Yeah. I think it was more along, date and like have a kid with or something, not necessarily quite so clinical.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't date
But
anyone, says Tay. And then eventually, after she keeps like being like, "You don't understand this game. Like you're not playing correctly." He like playfully says that he would pick her, but that by the time he says that, she like doesn't even take it seriously anymore.
And then he starts talking about all their grandchildren and how they're gonna grow old together and stuff.
Yeah, he's like, actually, you know what? I'd pick you, and I'll have great grandchildren with you. Let's have 3 sons and a daughter, and the daughter will be the youngest. He's like maps out their entire life, and now she's like, "Oh, you're just messing with me. I can't take anything you say seriously." Oh yeah, they're fun to watch, these two together. Like, I think I get their energy. Like, I don't think they should get back together.
Yeah,
I can see why they had fun hanging out together. They have like a similar type of humor. I think Ji-yeon in general is just somebody that is fun to hang out with. There's a wider range of people that are gonna have fun hanging out with Ji-yeon than there are that are gonna have fun hang out with Tae. I think. So I would say she's the main reason that this conversation is fun. Like, if she's not asking these like wacky questions, this wouldn't be a fun conversation.
Yeah. Then nothing's happening. Yeah.
Oh, I did write down this moment where Tae has to like get up to like, or no, she's gonna get up to go to the bathroom, and then Tae gets up at the same time because he's gonna go take a smoke break, and then she asks him like, "Did you get up every 30 minutes for a smoke break on your date with Nayeon?" In a way that I couldn't tell if this was like kind of like a passive aggressive like,
oh, this is a thing that has happened between them before. 100%.
Yeah, but in a way that like maybe she doesn't like that he smokes, I think is the sentiment that I got from it. Like, I can't believe you still smoke. It's gonna mess up your dates. I want people to like you. Stop smoking. It brings me pain that people don't like you. Okay. What's kind of maybe not messed up, I don't know, from Tae's perspective in this conversation, I feel like if I was sitting there and even though like, Tae is having a good time to some degree, but this kind of goes down a path of like Ji-yeon like kind of talking about out loud about her feelings in a way that like she is kind of showing that she just thinks like, oh, if I decide I want to be with Tae will take me back. Is that kind of like the feeling you got? But like Tae is like getting to hear this as if like he's like even if you want me back, I might not go back with you. Like, that's kind of, but like Ji-yeon doesn't seem to necessarily be putting that together.
I think there's also another layer of it where she's like talking about how like choosing him is choosing to mess up her life, basically. Like, she could go date with a better guy, but she still hung up on Tae for whatever reason, and she shouldn't choose him. She should choose a better guy. But it's hard, and this is some shit I wouldn't want to say to some people, like whether or not it's true or whatever. Like, that can't be great to hear.
We get into like drunk Ji-young level of comments where it's like it gets a little too much. She starts saying like, I hate you. Essentially, she doesn't say it like exactly, but she's essentially saying like, I love you, but I also hate you, and I hate you, but I also love you. And she like basically is like talking in circles. Yeah, it almost seems like
she's pretty drunk by this point.
Like, she's just like imagine if somebody was in front of you and they were just deciding if they wanted to be with you, and you haven't even decided if you want to be with them. It'd be like, well, this
because like she says all this stuff that's like, clearly she still has some level of feelings, but he never like reciprocates or indicates how he's feeling at all, other than like dodging her questions of the 4 women who would you date
and not going to the
room. It's a lot of the stuff she's saying is pretty presumptuous.
Yeah, for sure.
And more than a little rude,
Yeah, I think it is too. But at least there was some fun moments in this before it got to that point.
Yeah. Before that point, it was fun.
Tae eventually is going to leave. I think he's leaving because he doesn't like the conversation at this point. It's not just like, it's not just like, oh, we've been doing this for a long time, we should leave. It's like, he's actually feeling like this isn't fun anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Tay says in a confessional, I can't picture a future with her. Boom.
Yep.
We done.
Seems like that's just not gonna happen. Yep.
All right. And that's
Pretty
the end
much
of
it.
episode 11, right? All right.
Yeah.
We did it. Let's go through. So we didn't do all the extra rooms supposedly, but the previews are going to show us a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like we're gonna get Wanbin and Jisoo meeting up. At first I was like, oh my god, are they on a date? And then I'm like, all right, we've got more X room nonsense to do. Okay.
I want to say that it seems at least like Jisoo decided to go to the X room, which I think would make sense.
Yeah.
If one of them has to have
Mhm.
gone, I think it's more likely that Jisoo gone. I could also see Wanbin going too, though. And then Nayeon and Hidu are also going to get to talk.
Yeah. I think both of them picked it.
You think both of them did? I wrote that it's also
Yeah.
possible neither of them did, and then they just had to talk anyway.
No, she's too jealous recently, and I feel like he's too curious.
I was also thinking about this. It actually might end up that all the women go to the X room and the guys don't.
That's true. It might be that.
That's
Yeah.
pretty likely at this point. Yeah, but Nayeon is going to tell Hidu that she's jealous, and Hidu is going to get confused by this.
Yeah, he's gonna get all up in his feelings about what that means.
He's going to be like, does she still have feelings for me? Like, I had actually given up. It seemed like she told me she was done with me. What's happening?
Get these two apart from each other. You can't keep this cycle continuing.
After seeing, or like kind of getting a glimpse of maybe what Tae and Jiyoung's relationship was, though, do you think like Hidu and Jiyoung are a realistic couple?
What do you mean realistic?
Like I don't feel like Hidu is like that different from Tae, and especially like
Okay.
if there are these like dumb arguments that Hidu and Nayeon used to get into, like
Yeah.
it feels like this is the early stage of the relationship. Like Jiyeon is a very likable person and probably easy to have feelings for, and Hidu is in, and they're both in. They're just like, it's working, but I don't know. I don't think Hidu's like different enough from Tae that it's gonna work out.
Well, it's a fine workout. Like, I think they'll get together for a while and probably stick to it longer than they should.
Will they date longer than Tae and Jiyeon did?
They were like less than a year, right?
Yeah, less than
I
a
could
year.
see them going like a year,
Oh, okay.
maybe more. I mean, we're talking about Hidu, who like broke up and got back together with Nayeon like 6 fucking times or whatever. Like, that boy doesn't know how to quit. And Jiyeon's gonna be like, oh no, I made the mistake before of quitting too early. I gotta, put the effort in. So I could see them sticking around in a thing that doesn't work out a little bit longer than they should.
Jiyeon's not Nayeon though, so I think the fact that they broke up and got back together several times was a very specific, like, this is the Hidu and Nayeon situation that they keep getting back together.
Yeah.
I don't know. The show's definitely given us more of like, wow, Jiyeon really likes Hidu more than Hidu really likes Jiyeon, right?
He thinks she's cute and adorable no matter what she does. Her feet are beautiful. He's touched her dimples twice. This boy really likes her.
He thinks she's attractive, that's for sure.
And they did have that part where they were talking about how they're like really enjoying hanging out. Like, I think they're at the beginning of something that could work out if he wasn't about to get very confused by Nayeon.
Yeah. I don't think he's got to the point where he's over his ex because of Jiyeon. That's what I'll say. It's not like a Gumin and Nayeon scenario where he's like, yeah, Nayeon, I don't need Haeyeon anymore.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see all this play out, actually.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the next episode. I'm all in the Jisoo Wanbin. That might be my last hope of people I want to see together actually getting together.
I mean, they are both super reasonable. I do like them.
Even though I like Jiyeon a lot, but like I don't really like any of the matches with her.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think her future husband is in this house. I'll say that.
I also think like she's super young, and I would be excited to see her when she's like 26 and see what that Jiyeon is,
Yeah, she's gonna be a totally different person.
That Jiyeon's gonna be able to make a much more stable match,
Agreed. Next time, we will be talking about Heart Signal 4, Episode 4 and 5. My God. So much content.
Yes. Hope people like really long podcasts.
And then 2 weeks from now, we will come back to Transit Love 2 and talk about Episode 12, and the conclusion
More
of the
Museum of Sadness.
Museum of Sadness.
Yes.
I think Jisoo might be good in the Museum of Sadness. She might be. It might be the Museum of Happiness with Jisoo.
Okay.
I think that could be good.
I hope so. Yeah.
Oh, don't you want to find out why Jisoo thinks she was a terrible, terrible girlfriend? I still don't know what that is all about.
Oh, I just thought it was because she just broke up with him,
Oh, that's all it is. Okay.
Or I guess it's they always just did what she wanted. Like he was really catering to her, and she didn't do anything to change that dynamic.
They never went out in nature.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's only cafes taking pictures.
Okay. All right. Well,
and they could have been like taking pictures of nature. There you go. Compromise.
Okay. All right, Sarah. Where can people contact us?
People can email us at keepwatchingpod@gmail.com, tweet at us at keepwatchingpod, Instagram at us at keepwatchingpod, or leave a comment on YouTube under the video, also at keepwatchingpod. And if you want to leave us a note that we can feature in our very own future Museum of Sadness, you could leave us a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Well, hopefully it's not.
For when we break up with the listeners,
We break up with the...
Or
why would we break up with the listeners? Yeah. It's far more likely that the listeners break up with us.
They'll probably break up with us. That's why it'll be our Museum of Sadness. We will be the Haeun in this situation.
How do we break up with the listeners? That's what would we do?
I don't know. I think we'd just stop podcasting.
I mean, we could ghost them, but like, how would we actually break up with them? Like, let them know.
We could put out a really mean last episode. Probably just be like, oh, how dare you listen to our content? I don't know.
It's not us. It's you, listeners. That you're the reason.
Exactly.
You're the reason we can't do this anymore. You support us way too much. And we just can't
how dare you?
You're smothering us like Haeun.
Yeah. You're not who we thought you were. You party too late. It's terrible.
Alrighty. Thank you for reals for actually listening to us. Thank you.
Yes. 100% thank you.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.